What started as 225 teams from right across the state is now down to only two. Heidelberg United and Preston Lions, two of the biggest clubs in Victoria and two of the state's fiercest rivals, going head-to-head in the 2026 New Balance Dockerty Cup final with the chance to lift some silverware and etch their name into Victorian football folklore. Hello and welcome to Lakeside Stadium for the 2026 New Balance Dockerty Cup final. It's Heidelberg versus Preston. My name is Nick Tabano and I'm joined here today by matchday commentators Steve Kirk and Mark Ivkovic for all the action. Guys, beautiful conditions, a bit of wind at the moment, but a nice crowd starting to file in and a real big match feel here on Saturday afternoon for you.
Yeah, it's a really good feel when these sides meet. It's such a long time since they played each other. They had that 14-year absence, and then since they reacquainted themselves last year with one another, we were at that game when they played at the home of the Matildas early last year, Nick. It was 1-1. There's not been much between these two sides. It's always the odd goal, so hopefully we'll get a similar occurrence today, Nick.
Absolutely, and now let's get into the team news, guys, because there is plenty of it. And we'll start with Heidelberg. There's been a big shock at selection. Yaron Souza is back between the sticks today for Heidelberg. It's a massive in for Heidelberg in this cup final.
Yeah, we were trying to plan all week for Heidelberg starting 11. A little bit tricky because we didn't know who was going to come in. Definitely didn't see Yaron Souza coming into the lineup. You know, we were told weeks ago that it'd be a season-ending injury for him. There was no prediction that he was going to be starting, but massive team news. Probably a big in for Heidelberg because he's one of their main men. And a few other selection surprises. Yokokawa coming back in. Duarte starting, so we're expecting probably a formation change for Heidelberg. Probably three at the back, which we haven't seen too often from Heidelberg. They did play that in the second half against Avondale last week and got a little bit of joy from it with two up top, Duarte and Brownwell. But interesting to see if it works against this sturdy Preston team.
Steve, you both had a front row seat to that change in formation last week. They went to more of a back three with Collins, Ledley and Munakutas making up those positions. And maybe that change up front. With two up front, we know that they have struggled to hit the back of the net this season since Paul Duarte's departure, but looking for something new today with Bramwell and Duarte leading the line this afternoon.
Yeah, it seems like the players they have available to them seem to complement that, especially since the injury to Fletcher Fulton in the Australia Cup, who's been a standout left back and more recently a right back, and the signing of Tas Mudakutas, who's so versatile. He's played for them in that defensive midfield position, and he's played in central defence as well. And we forget as well, he lifted the trophy in the OFC Pro League earlier this year too as the captain for Auckland FC, so he's got that big final experience, so he'll be a key one to watch, especially if he starts in that back three. And yeah, two up top. It'll be interesting to see how Bramwell goes with Duarte up top, but that's what it looks like we're going to see. And Humbert as well, versatile, would rather play through the middle. Looks like he might have to play as a wing back perhaps today.
Be fascinating to see how that actually comes out when they're all out on the pitch and in formation in that back three, which we do expect. Of course, no Chok Dow, who was injured last week against Avondale, and as well Tabena Rabani missing cup time today for Heidelberg. Big outs for the Burgers.
Yeah, Albani's a big one because they've been struggling at left back since Fulton's been injured. Albani coming in has helped them in the past couple of weeks, but now it's either going to be McGowan, could be Humbert, someone that's not naturally a defensive-minded player. And when these two sides met a few weeks ago at Olympic Village, it was Humbert that played as a left back, and that was probably the weakness in Heidelberg's performance. So perhaps that's why we'll see a formation change today from Heidelberg to try and combat that.
Absolutely, and let's now have a look at the starting lineup for Preston. They have made the one change. It's in defence. Dom Foligno returns to the squad. Zach Lisalarski drops out of the squad. So a settled 11 from the side that drew 2-2 against Green Gully. But Dom Foligno and Aidan Bryce has been the preferred partnership at centre-back this year. And after a change last week, Zoran Markovski has gone back to that tried and tested partnership.
Yeah, Dom Foligno is probably the most underrated defensive player in the competition, I would say. Just an unsung hero in that Preston team, really solid, and I think Soki Markovski likes him in that lineup because his ball speed's really quick, really good on the ball, able to distribute it quickly like Aidan Bryce can, and that's what Preston's game's all about, is quick ball speed and breaking at pace.
And Steve, J. Romanovsky missing today. Not one of those players is cup tied, but looking further up the field, Zach Chiachi's hit some really good form as of late, leading the line today alongside new signing Noel Bernarda. Really looking forward to seeing how that partnership goes this afternoon.
Yeah, Bernarda was the missing piece in the puzzle, I think, for Zoran Markovski. They've had Jason Romero as that option up front, but he does prefer to sit a little bit deeper in behind and not play with his back to goal and be able to run forward with the ball, so that might allow him to come on and play in a deeper role if he's to come on. But yeah, definitely Noel Bernarda has really straightened them up. He had that key involvement in the semi-final, setting up the goal for Jan Albano. road to get them over the North Sunshine Eagles. Expect a huge game for Noel Bernardo today. He knows this ground very well. And then you look at Chianchi as well. What good form to bring in as well after scoring twice last week as well. Hard player to defend against. He plays wide predominantly, but he can drift inside. But you never know which way he's going to go. He's good on both feet, scored with both feet last week.
Absolutely, and John Albano, as you mentioned, back in the squad today. Hasn't hit the back of the net in the league this season, but he's a cup specialist. Plenty of history as well, scoring in big games, particularly his time at Melbourne Knights. And George Michaelides, who returned last week in the league, also back on the bench, a player who has hit the scoreboard throughout the cup so far. Before we continue today's preview, we're going to take a look back at how both teams got here. We'll start off with Heidelberg and their run to the Dockerty Cup final.
History beckons for Brunswick Juventus and Heidelberg United. Up for grabs tonight, a spot in the 2026 New Balance Dockerty Cup final. And that's it, Heidelberg clinch a spot in the New Balance Dockerty Cup final for the second consecutive year.
There is Heidelberg's run to today's finals. Steve, they didn't concede a goal all the way through to today's game. They have been brilliant defensively. They got the job done with relative ease in all of their fixtures. And just like last year particularly, they only conceded one en route to the Dockerty Cup final. It was a stunning goal against Clifton Hill last year, but this time going one better, ensuring that they kept the door shut defensively in all 5 of those games.
That's right. Well, we heard an interview during the week with Captain Ben Collins, and he said maybe that's the difference. They haven't conceded a single goal this year on the path to the cup final. Last year conceding just the one, but yeah, they've been so good defensively. They've been challenged not too many times either. They were held at Altona East Phoenix 0-0 at halftime in that one before Joseph Lee got the breakthrough. They've had Humbert score a hat-trick as well in the previous round out at McIver Reserve against Yarraville Glory as well. So they've done what they had to do, and then when it was probably the most crucial matches against the Bentley Greens, got the job done there. They scored 2 goals in the space of 3 minutes there at Olympic Village, and then the most recent game, the semi-final as well. 2 first-half goals to see off a very hungry Brunswick Juventus side there. So, look, they looked pretty good on that night, and that's probably one of their better performances that they played over the last couple of months, because in the league, they haven't won in June or July. But that win over Brunswick Juventus at CB Smith Reserve was probably about their best performance, and one of their only 2 wins in that time. The other one coming against Cumberland in the Australia Cup round of 32 over in Adelaide on the synthetic pitch.
That winless run has been something that has been a big talking point for Heidelberg over the last couple of months. But getting those wins in not only the Dockerty Cup but the Australia Cup would have to give them some sort of confidence coming into this one-off game today. Yeah,
definitely. If it was a league game today, probably a little bit of a different story. But as you said, their cup form's been exceptional. They were able to go away a couple of weeks ago and win at Cumberland. But if we're honest, probably the same goes to Preston. Neither team's really been tested in their run to the final today. This is probably their easiest path to a final they'll probably both get. So, look, when you're out of form, it doesn't really matter too much when you come to a final. Look at the atmosphere building here today. Heidelberg's been there and done that. But having said that, this is their 5th final in 10 years, and they've only won 1 Dockerty Cup final out of those 5. Came into last year's game as heavy favourites as well and didn't get over the line. So there's a little bit of element of stage fright as well for Heidelberg on the big stage.
Absolutely, that 2-1 loss against South Melbourne last year. They led in that game as well before Campbell Doverson's second-half brace was the difference. We'll now take a look at the opponents, Preston Lions, and their run to the Dockerty Cup final.
For Suto, Preston have an opportunity which they'll finally take. Motoring towards the byline, Michaelides!
side of the boot, across the face, elbow! Oh! And the Preston Lions book their spot in the New Balance Dockerty Cup final and a date with Heidelberg United.
Yes, that has been Preston's run to today's Dockerty Cup final. Not as straightforward as Heidelberg's. Their journey almost ended all the way back in round 4 where they beat Keilor Park on penalties. They had a tough game as well against Junior Hill Eagles where they were the home team, or the away team at their home ground earlier this year. But then a big 6-0 win against George Cross and a tight 1-0 win against North Sunshine Ivka that ultimately booked their place in this final.
Yeah, the probably easiest game they had was the one game against the top flight opposition. I commentated that game and geez, I would say that's Preston's best performance of that season, the game against George Cross. They could have won that game 12-0 if they wanted to. They were devastating, and that performance probably kick-started their season. That's when they started to turn it around. They were struggling to score goals before that game, so that's given them confidence as well. Look, the fortunate thing for Preston is that they play in a lot of big games, and you know they shouldn't be overawed by the situation today with the crowd that we're expecting. But we have, again, like I said about Heidelberg having stage fright, we have seen this Preston squad have stage fright as well. In particular, round 1 when we were there, Nick, against the Oakley Cannons. Big crowd built it that day. So, look, a great run to the Cup final. But again, it's all about how you adapt to the situation this afternoon.
And they haven't had too much experience playing at Lakeside Stadium in recent years as well, Preston. They were held 0-0 only a few weeks ago here against South. They went down 2-1 against South here in the top flight last year on their return to top flight league football here. So certainly not as familiar with this venue as Heidelberg are. Their run here was an interesting one. That game against Keilor Park, that could have definitely gone either way, and luckily George Michaelides bailed them out in the 91st minute to send the game to extra time. They had Jamal Ali sent off, and it ended up being Mayan, the goalkeeper who'd come across with Zoran Markoski from Avondale, who played a big role in making a key save to see them get through that round. But yeah, they've been really good since then, and as Mark said, against Caroline Springs George Cross, that 6-0 win really set them back on track for their entire season, and they're unbeaten in all competitions in 11 games since that 6-0 win back in May.
Just one last point, I guess, on the Preston Lions. You mentioned not playing much here. The pitch is much smaller here as well compared to BT Connor Reserve. Does that play a part in today's game as well, considering they are playing on a much smaller pitch? It's a pitch that's a lot more narrow. It's a bit more like quite literally a racetrack. Of course, it is the athletics track as well. But does that play an impact in today's game too?
I actually think it suits Preston. I actually think that their form and their performances at Jenner Steel Stadium aren't that great. I think it's too big for their style of play. They're the best away team in the competition, in the NPL competition this season. And I think that's because they prefer to play on a tighter pitch. You know, they like to steal the ball in dangerous areas, break at speed, and you don't see that too often at Jenner Steel Stadium, so I actually think it'll suit them today.
Yeah, and on this pitch as well, you've got an experienced defensive midfielder in Oliver Kublé, who's played in these cup finals before. He's won this match before when he was at Oakley as well. Sitting in front of that back four with the experience of Bryce, Foligno, Ali and Negro. They're going to be hard to break down today. It's going to take a lot of quality for Heidelberg to score, I think, against this Preston defence.
Well, you mentioned quality for Heidelberg United. Let's take a look at some of those players to watch. Starting off with Anthony Lesiotis. Now, he's the midfield general for Heidelberg, was so key in their run to the championship last year and as well to the final of the Australia Cup. Steve, I mean, he's such an important part of this Heidelberg team. When he's playing well, it feels like Heidelberg go to another level.
Yeah, and his form probably hasn't been as good as he'd liked. He's looked a little bit tired. They played, that whopping 47 games of football last year, and he played in so many of them, basically all of them, I think, and often playing the full 90, very fit. But this year it's been a little bit harder for him without Mo Dara there. Mo Dara provided so much running power. He could have completed about a 2:30 debut marathon in Melbourne in October if he was going around. But without him, Lesiotis has had to work a lot harder. But he is capable of scoring goals from distance. So if Preston sit deep, he's that player who can be the wild card, that X factor who could score a bomb and then really put Heidelberg in the box deep in the game state for this one. Probably the best slide tackler going around in NPL Victoria as well. He can win the ball back easily, and experience as well since coming out of the A-League system, 89 NPL Victoria appearances, so a lot of experience and a good leader in this team.
The other one, Marcus Humbert, his midfield partner, has come in and essentially been the Moe Dara replacement. Different player, scored a lot of goals this season as well, coming from midfield. They've struggled to find an answer up front at different times this season, but Humbert has been an answer when it's come to needing a goal in some of those games. He has stepped up and provided the goods.
Yeah, and 9 goals in all comps now. He started a little slower and he really found his scoring form for Heidelberg midway through the season. He's sort of like that tall, modern-day midfielder, number 8, all-round midfielder, like a Connor Metcalf coming out of that Melbourne City football factory, Nick. He's capable of popping up. He's not going to score a bomb from 30 yards like Lesiotis, but he's really capable of popping up 18 yards out, 12 yards out, getting on the end of a move, getting on the end of a second ball and side-footing home. So he's one to watch today. Keep an eye on him. He might be playing a different role as a wing-back possibly, which will be a challenge for him, but he'll take that with 2 hands and do his best and perform well wherever he's put today.
And the other one is Ben Collins, the captain, the leader at the back. He missed the Dockerty Cup final last year. He's back today. It'll be interesting to see what that setup is, if it is as part of that back three, as mooted alongside Ryan Lethlean and Tas Mutakutis. But again, another player, if he's at his best, Heidelberg very rarely are losing these sort of matches.
Yeah, one of the great guys of Victorian football, a good leader for Heidelberg. Again, he's probably feeling a little tired from playing that massive amount of games, 47 games last year, similar to Lesiotis. Was rested a couple of weeks ago, might have been carrying an injury, came back in. He would say he didn't have his best game last week in the loss to Avondale. He'd be looking to really make amends, not only for that, but for being suspended and missing the final last year, which would have been heartbreaking for him. So redemption's on the table for Ben Collins today. So his leadership skills, along with Ryan Lethlean in defence, are going to be key to what happens today. And he's got that experience of winning a championship with Western United. He sets the tone for his team, and he's going to put in a big shift today. And it's going to be key to seeing how Heidelberg go.
Absolutely. Meanwhile, their opponents, Preston, Ivka, talking about centre-backs, there's perhaps none more important to a team than Aidan Bryce, who, when he has been in, Preston have been basically formidable defensively. 9 clean sheets in all competitions in 16 games he has played. He's just a hallmark of the sort of player that he is.
Yeah, and funnily enough, since he's come back in, Preston's form has turned around. 11 games unbeaten, as we've mentioned. It's down to Aidan Bryce, really. He's just a phenomenal defender. It's not just his defensive work, it's his bravery on the ball, which is key to Zoran Markovski's side. You'll see in the game today, when he gets on the ball, his passing range, he could play as a number 6, and he'd probably be the best number 6 in the competition, because he's just so good on the ball. But then his ability to break up play, put in defensive tackles, and he's the leader of that back four, crucial to the way Preston perform.
Another player that has been crucial for Preston over the last few weeks is Luca Tavir. What a signing he has been in the mid-season window. A player that they were hoping to have had from the start of the season, but then, of course, made the move to Perth Glory in the A-League and now back here at Preston for the second half of the season, and has just been an enormous pickup for the Lions in the last few weeks.
Yeah, he, again, another player that's made a massive difference to the way they play. You know, he was the signing of the off-season before the season started, and then when he left on the eve of the season for Preston to go to Perth Glory, changed things dramatically for Preston. That squad was built around Luca Tavir coming in. So since him coming back in that late mid-season window, again, their performances have changed. There's no other player like Luca Tavir in the competition. The ability to drive with the ball, break the lines. Spoke about bravery with Aidan Bryce, bravery for Luca Tavir to have the confidence to take on players and split open defences with his passing range. Crucial, again, like Bryce is, to the way Preston play.
The final one, Noel Bernarda, another one of those mid-season arrivals. Preston have chopped and changed who that starting number 9 has been throughout this year, but it seems like they have found their man in Noel Bernarda, who, of course, has won this competition before, plenty of experience here at this venue, and has been an immediate hit for the Lions since coming in.
If there's ever a Zoran Markovski player or a player meant to play for Preston, it's Noel Bernarda. His passion and energy really suits the club. You can see he's already embraced it as well, and just a big game player. You know, he's got that Argentinian blood in him. They love the big moments, and he's made a difference as well since coming in. You mentioned, you know, they haven't settled on a number 9. They haven't since they've come back to the NPL. That's been the real sore point for Preston, struggling to score goals. Even if he doesn't score a goal, Bernarda, he takes defenders out of play, brings others into it. He's really elusive inside the box as well. I could definitely see him scoring a couple of goals this afternoon.
Such an enormous presence for the Preston Lions is Noel Bernarda, and the man who has to come up with the play to try and slow down his impact is John Anastasiadis. We heard from him a little bit earlier today.
How's the team been building towards this one?
Yeah, it's been a good week.
Really had a really good week on the park. Unfortunate result last week. Put that behind us very quickly, you know, we had a really good week. Yeah, four training sessions this week, and not that it means anything, but you know, the boys really wanted to get on the park straight away after last week's unfortunate result. So we made allowance for that, and yeah, been pretty happy. And they've got a lot of energy. So hopefully today we can bring that up onto the field at 2:30.
What does your team have to do to win the game today?
Look, we have to be on the front foot from the start. Simple as that. You know, we have to show intentions from the start, try to control the game, keep possession as much as possible, and then when we lose the ball, trying to win it back as quick as possible too. So, because we know Preston are very good on counter attacks, and they've got some excellent players in centrally in midfield. So, we've worked on trying to negate that as much as possible. But at the end of the day, you know, the boys have got to be in the right frame of mind, which they are. They're focused. And hopefully, by the end of the day, we're the winners.
Thoughts of Heidelberg coach John Anastasiadis ahead of today's Dockerty Cup final. We also heard from Zoran Markovski, the head coach of the Preston Lions. Here's what he had to say ahead of today's decider.
Yeah, no, we're looking forward to the contest, obviously. I mean, we've gone 11 games undefeated, and that goes out the window, where it's a cup tie and it's a grand final. So we're really looking forward to it.
Opportunity to do something pretty special for the club today?
Yeah, what an opportunity. Yeah, the club hasn't won this cup for 34 years, and like I said, we deserve to be here, and so does Heidelberg, but we're going to give it one hell of a crack today.
What does it mean for you to be leading this team?
No, it's something special, yeah. Like I said, I've grown up supporting this football club, and I'm really excited to have our fans back today and supporting us today.
How are the boys feeling?
Yeah, they're positive. They trained really well this week, and we're looking forward to the contest.
Within your control, what do you guys have to do to try and go win that trophy later?
I think we have to take our moments in our forward line, and we've got to defend well.
Thanks to Zoran Markovski and John Anastasiadis for taking their time out ahead of this game this afternoon. Guys, the crowd's starting to file in here at Lakeside Stadium. It's beautiful conditions here for cup final football, and it really does have all the hallmarks of a big match feel this afternoon.
Yeah, it does. Crowd filing in now. Both coaches, I saw them coming in earlier. They both look very relaxed given what's at stake today. Both of them going for the second Dockerty Cup win for their clubs. Both of them have won it before as managers at previous clubs as well. So, yeah, one of them will be lifting the New Balance Dockerty Cup by around 4:30, or maybe a little later today if we go the journey. But it's probably going to sound a little bit cliche, Nick, but I think it's going to be won and lost in the midfield today. And having the quality of like Luca Tavir coming in the mid-season window for Preston is going to be one to watch for me this afternoon.
Well, they're split already this year. Both got a 1-0 win apiece. Bit different games in both of those games. I guess, are there any lessons or things that you've taken out of those two, looking at this one, that we can expect to see this afternoon?
Look, I think you'll see Heidelberg have a lot of the ball and Preston sit off them, which I think if Preston have the courage to go and press them a bit higher up the park, I think they'll have a lot of joy in that this afternoon. We've seen it. We saw Avondale do it to Heidelberg last week, and we've seen Heidelberg make a lot of mistakes playing out from the back in the past probably 5 or 6 games. So it probably goes against Preston's ethos, but I'd like to see them press them higher up the park today. Don't sit off and wait for them to make a mistake in the middle of the park. Just really take the game to them. I think they can get a lot of joy that way.
Well, we know, Mark, that Heidelberg have been in training 4 times this week, so perhaps they've been rehearsing if they are going to play with 3-5-2, rehearsing how they're going to play out, how they're going to play against a press, how they're going to play against a deep set defence. So they would have been putting their time in this week. So what Johnny A and the coaching staff have done this week, it's going to be on show in a little bit of time now, so it's getting exciting.
Well, guys, we're a few minutes away from kickoff, so now it's time for predictions. Ivka?
Jeez, this game could go any which way. Preston could win 3-0, Heidelberg could win 2-0, it could go to penalties. I really don't know. If I've got to go out on a limb, I think Preston wins this 2-0. I just can't see how Heidelberg is going to score against this Preston defence. You know, they've really struggled to score goals as of late, Heidelberg, and they're coming up against the best defence in Victoria. So it's going to be very difficult. I think if Preston gets the first goal, that's probably game, set, and match, because I can't see how Heidelberg's going to get back into it.
Yeah, look, it's going to be tight. It's not going to be high scoring, as we've seen with their matches since they've played. They've all been close. Only 1 goal in them, apart from the one that was a draw. I tipped Heidelberg with a lot of confidence to win on this day last year against South. Looked pretty good for a little while too, after Yokakara had opened the scoring. I feel like I've been burnt a little bit, so maybe I should be tipping Preston. But I think it could go all the way, and maybe it could go to the fact that both of these sides in their previous Dockerty Cup triumphs, they both won on penalties in their only victories in this competition. So look, maybe it'll be Preston on penalties, Nick, this afternoon in the New Balance Dockerty Cup.
I like where you're thinking, Steve. I think we're going the distance. I think we're going to be going to extra time and Preston get the job done 2-1. Well, guys, we're only minutes away from the 2026 New Balance Dockerty Cup final. Heidelberg United and Preston Lions battling it out for one of the most prestigious prizes in Victorian football.
First contested in 1909, this competition has been the cornerstone of Victorian football for over a century. Now, another chapter is set to be written at Lakeside Stadium in 2026. Who will step up? Who will claim their piece of history? Collins, Kubelet, Bolton, Markovski, Lesiotis, Ali. There's plenty of history in both of these two proud clubs, two giants of Victorian football. Both have won this famous trophy once before, and in this 70th clash between them, the head-to-head record is only separated by 2 wins, and there's been just 1 goal conceded between them on their run to this year's final. Victorian football's oldest prize, sitting on a knife's edge. Heidelberg United and Preston Lions, the 113th edition of the New Balance Dockerty Cup final.
2026
225 clubs from Morwell to the Murray, from Shepparton to the Surf Coast, and everywhere in between set out on a quest for the 2026 New Balance Dockerty Cup. Today, just two remain. Not just any old clubs, Heidelberg and Preston. They met for the first time at Collier Street in Preston 61 years ago. Today, in their 70th meeting, one of them will lift the New Balance Dockerty Cup for the second time in their history. Hello and welcome to the broadcast from the picturesque setting of a buzzing lakeside stadium. I'm Steve Curtin, and joining me in the gantry this afternoon for the big cup final experience is Mark Ivkovic, who will bring it in just a moment. But we will first pause for a moment's silence here in memory of former Heidelberg great Mike Valentine.
Valentine joined the club in 1982, where he played over 200 games and captained the club in 1988. Please join the two sides in honouring Mike Valentine's life with a moment of silence. Please stand if you are able to for the Australian National Anthem.
Well, the waiting is over. Both sets of players out on the pitch. We're going through our final preliminaries. Let's take a look at the lineups for this one. John Anastasiadis makes three changes to that Heidelberg team that went down by 2-1 at Avenger Park last week. There's returns to the starting 11 for Nico Duarte, Asahi Yokokawa, and the surprise inclusion of Yaron Souza, who returns from injury to take place in goals. In defence today, Tas Mudakudis, Ryan Lethlean, Ben Collins, Kane Rasmovsky, Jay McGlowan looks to be deployed as a wing-back in midfield, Lesiotis Yokokawa and Humbert. Two up top, Duarte and Bramwell, who scored last week against Avondale. Tabena Obani misses out by virtue of being cup-tied. Chok Dow, after suffering some broken ribs in that match, misses through injury. And Ashton Bonsall drops to the bench. Meanwhile, Zoran Markowski has only made one change to the Preston side that drew 2-2 last weekend on Friday night in the league at home to Green Gully behind closed doors. Dom Foligno comes in central defence to replace Zach Lisalowski, who misses out today. Jay Romanowski, who came off the bench in that one, is cup-tied. So Ryan Scott between the posts. In defence, it's Jamal Ali, who played for Heidelberg in the final last year. Joining him in defence, Aidan Bryce, Dom Foligno, the experienced figure of Stefan Negro, who turns 30 next week. Oliver Kublai will be the midfield anchor in front of him. It's Sian Cuba and the mid-season signing Luca Tavia. On the flanks, Stefan Zinni and Zach Gianchi. Gianchi, of course, scoring that double last week on Friday night. And a man who needs no introduction to this venue, Noel Bernarda, joining from South Melbourne recently, will lead the line. We'll take a look at those substitutes for Heidelberg United. It's Christian Theoharis, Anthony Theo, Joseph Lee, Max Pacetto, Ashton Bonsall and Nick Simos. While for Preston, it's Leighton Brooks, Jason Romero, George Mihalidis, who scored in his only 3 appearances in the Cup this season, 100% strike rate, so watch out for him when he gets on. Matthew Bozanowski providing some defensive cover options from the bench. Gian Albano, who scored in the semi-final, also starts from the bench, and Mayan, whose goalkeeping heroics saw Preston get past Keilor Park earlier in the campaign back in round 5. Here's another player who is on the bench for Preston. Mr. Mark Ivkovic to the broadcast position. Ivka, how are you feeling about today's match?
Excited, Steve. This is probably the biggest Dockerty Cup final that we have ever witnessed, really. Two big rivals, huge crowd here at Lakeside. Feels like an NPL grand final this afternoon, doesn't it? Massive team news. Yaron Souza coming back into goals for Heidelberg. Nobody saw that coming. You know, way ahead of schedule, returning from injury. Hadn't played any games leading up to it, so it's a big risk by Heidelberg.
Yes, well, Michael Uliaris is our man in the middle this afternoon. Commerce and finance student, keeping an eye on this one. And the assistant referees Nicoletta Sorteropoulos, Matteo Brazale, and the fourth official is Puya Guderian. So plenty of experience among the officials and plenty of experience among both sets of players. It's Preston in all red, Heidelberg in yellow and black. Heidelberg attacking the Albert Road end of the venue. As we said, it looks like they're lining up with a back three of Collins, Mudakudis and Lethlean. And they're on the attack here early through Duarte, who had to bide his time on the bench last week, and he gets the start today. It's Chianchi scrapping for the ball in the long sleeves. Play on's the ball. The call here, it breaks for McGowan. Here's Jamal Ali. What a big game for him today. Such a good contributor on the scoreboard from right back for Heidelberg last season, but he had to play in central defence in last year's final for Heidelberg, his old club, after Ben Collins had been sent off, and Ben Collins is at the centre of a bit of a scrap here. There's plenty of feeling between both sets of players out there, Mark.
Yeah, there is. They're obviously feeling the atmosphere. Usually when these two sides meet, there isn't too much nastiness on the actual pitch. It's more obviously in the stands that the tension's there, but on the pitch it's usually a pretty tame kind of game. So 1 minute in and tension's already boiling over. Doesn't look like a back three though, Steve. It looks like they've gone for Lethlean as a left full back. So I think they've gone to a 4-man midfield, more of a 4-4-2 today from Heidelberg, which is something we have not seen from them.
Collins was caught in two minds there. It's a difficult breeze out there. It caused a bit of havoc in our pre-match section on the edge of the pitch out there, Mark, and it's causing a bit of havoc. That one just hung up in the air, and Ben Collins was caught in two minds.
Yeah, it's a strong wind towards that goal that they're defending as well.
You can see the sailing boats out on the Albert Park Lake behind that goal that Heidelberg are defending in this first half. So it looks like Preston are going to press up right as high as they can on the edge of the 18-yard box, with Cuba putting the pressure on Collins, who decides to go long. Got some good distance on the kick. Ali receiving from Foligno, decides to ping it down the line to Zach Chianchi, the informed player out there for Preston. He's got Cuba in support. Sion Cuba to Kubalay. Overlapping was Luca Tavia. Souza gets his first touch of the afternoon. So Souza, who missed out through injury, hasn't played since July the 11th against Melbourne City in the league, missing the last 3 fixtures for Heidelberg. We saw Ashton Bonsall come in and get 2 clean sheets. They had 2 nil-nil draws. And then last week conceding a couple of goals at Avenger Park against Avondale in that 2-1 loss. So let's keep an eye on Yaron Souza and see his fitness. It'll be interesting to see how he performs in this one, Mark.
Yeah, you can see how they struggle to play out of this press, Heidelberg. We mentioned it in the pre-game show where I feel as though Preston could get a lot of joy out of it. So there was hardly any pressure there to try and play that ball out of defence, and they've just turned it over so cheaply. It's going to be a real interesting battle though, that Lethlean versus Chianchi. That's another big gamble by Johnny Anastasiadis. Chianchi has got a lot of pace to burn. Lethlean not exactly known for his pace. He's going to have to use all his game awareness to contain Chianchi this afternoon.
So similar to the semi-final win against Brunswick Juventus, where Lethlean was deployed as a left back. One of the taller left backs you're likely to see going around at 193 centimetres. This one's going to run through to Souza with Sian Cuba advancing. He looks hungry out there at the moment, Sian Cuba. This is Razmowski, the mid-season signing. His pass is cut off by Bryce. Bernardo is looking for some scraps and he finds Zinni. Stefan Zinni. His father Andrew was successful in the Dockerty Cup back in the day. Could we see Steph be a part of her New Balance Dockerty Cup winning squad this afternoon? Here's Ali. Plenty of boos and jeers from the Heidelberg fans for a player who was so good for them last year. Here's Lesiotis, good feet from him. Ethline was in heavy traffic, so he decided to go back to Collins. Heidelberg's having a little bit of trouble getting out of their own half at the moment.
Yeah, really struggling to retain the ball as well. Just they've got two target men as well, Bramwell and Duarte. They should be able to really contain or hold up the ball, but neither of them, they can't even hit him. I think that breeze is really affecting him because the distance on the kicks aren't that great at the moment.
There's a bit of beef between the two centre forwards and the two central defenders at the left of screen, Bryce and Foligno and Bramwell and Duarte. Be something different for Bryce and Foligno playing against two up top rather than a front three.
Yeah, you don't see it too often at NPL level, the old 4-4-2. It has come back into fashion in top level football, but not really in the NPL.
So the first set piece opportunity of the afternoon. That's the mid-season signing who's come across the nulla ball from Perth Glory. Huge advantage for Preston being able to bring in Luca Tavir as he prepares this set-piece opportunity. The delivery good off the boot, but it was nodded away well by McGowan. Everyone back in defence for that set-piece for Heidelberg, so it's going to be all red at the fall of the ball here.
They've really gone safety first this afternoon, Heidelberg. Just allow Preston to have the ball, just be really compact and tight.
Buzz around this venue, fans still filing through the gates. Reasonable conditions for the spectators, 17 degrees. That breeze off the lake is certainly a cool one. We've got our jackets on up here in the gantry this afternoon as we enjoy watching these two sides go head to head. It's always a gripping battle when they play each other after that 14-year hiatus where they didn't meet until last year where they were reacquainted with one another. It's been a tight tussle every single time. Here's Yokokawa back into the starting side this week. Could he be back with a goal? Perhaps. He scored after only 5 minutes in the final last year against South Melbourne. Forward by Razmowski, straight back by Ali. So it's Preston definitely playing with the aid of the breeze in this first half. It's going towards that lake end. It's captain Ben Collins, whose pass is a good one to pick out Yokokawa, and with good body shape he can turn and play forward to Marcus Humbert. Opportunity now for Lethlean. Finds a little pocket of space here for Yokokawa. Lethlean, can he supply the cross? It's off Ali and volleyed clear by the right back up towards Bernardo. Acrobatic from Ben Collins, who was fully committed. Might stay in play here for Humbert. Duarte, oh, well marshalled by Aidan Bryce. Gives his team a rev up.
I feel like Preston's been caught a little bit on the hop here with this formation change from Heidelberg. You can see where Yokokawa's picking up the ball in that pocket of space there. They've obviously got the overload in the midfield 4v3. And then when in that cross there, Aidan Bryce a little bit out of position with the two up top. They haven't adjusted to it yet, Preston.
So Heidelberg's first set-piece opportunity. What's in store here? Plenty of tall timber in there with Lethlean, Collins and Mutakutis, mid-season signing from Auckland FC. Corner's a bit of a disappointing one from Yokokawa, but he'll get a second chance here, or will he? He's offside.
That's an extremely disappointing set piece, isn't it?
It wasn't too far from being the right area, but there was just no one there in a yellow shirt.
Yeah, and then to be caught offside on the follow-up, not ideal. But a positive passage of play there for Heidelberg. You can just see Lethlean's a little bit uncomfortable that high up the pitch trying to whip in across.
It's more likely to try and just drill it along a little bit of a worm burner along the grass and try and find someone in the middle than a pinpoint cross of an out-and-out winger. There's Dom Foligno, who scored in that big game in the NPL Victoria finals at Oakley last year in the elimination final. Hasn't scored a goal since. A goal today would be something special for the Preston Lions defender. Cuba, who's been very involved early, looking for Chianchi. It hangs in the air. Decision goes the way of left lean this time. Assistant referee Nicoletta Sorteropoulos down there, keeping a close eye on things on the near touch line. Looks like he started well here, and he just had to cut inside and just ran out of options, really. Chianchi. So we're anticipating a lot of Heidelberg possession, but it seems like Preston have maybe had more than half of in the opening minutes here, Mark.
Yeah, which doesn't suit them too much, Steve. I've watched a lot of Preston games this season, and in these type of games where they retain a lot of the possession, they're not that great with the ball. They're calm on it, but they're very static on the ball. Not a lot of movement. They prefer to counter-attack Preston, win the ball in dangerous areas in the middle of the park and then break with speed.
Mudakudis wins the header, a player who has lifted silverware earlier this season with Auckland FC in the OFC Pro League as their club captain on that occasion against the boys from this venue in South Melbourne.
That's where I'd like to see Chianchi go more direct against left lean. Back yourself, you've got the pace to beat him 1v1. Don't need to drag yourself so far out wide.
Does seem to be a feature of the game of Zach Chianchi. He likes to really be a player who's out there with the chalk on his boots, as the old coaches would say. Giving the full width of this venue and gone on about it a bit in the pre-match, but 11 metres additional width that BT Connor Reserve has the Preston Lions home ground over the width of this venue, which is squeezed inside the athletics track here at Lakeside Stadium. Lesiotis receiving from Humbert. He doesn't really have anyone in that advanced left position. Left lean's going to have to give chase, but it was all in vain, really, as that was always going to go out across the byline.
Judging by Chianchi's body language there, it looked certain that it was going to go out. Just got out of time.
First New Balance Dockerty Cup final here at this venue since the Bentley Greens come from behind against the Oakley Cannons back in 2022. Great to be here at this inner city venue. Shades of when these clubs were competing for it when Preston last won. It was down the road at Olympic Park Stadium. An enormous crowd gathered that day, apparently, back in 1992. Very healthy crowd through the gates and making lots of noise. Both sets of fans have been since very early on, marching down Clarendon Street and into the venue. Really good feel about this one, atmosphere-wise, in the venue. And how long we'll have to wait for a goal? That's another thing that we'll find out in time, as Bryce is in possession. Out wide is Negro. Kubelay's angled pass is perfection to Zinni, but Zinni turned it over. It was picked up by Lesiotis. Out wide is Nico Duarte, who's been lively early for Heidelberg. Maybe feels like he's got a point to prove after having to come off the bench in recent weeks.
Yeah, neither Bramwell or Duarte has really taken a stranglehold on that number 9 position, vacated by Buljawarch.
Chance for McGowan. Yokokawa. Well, they're not giving Yokokawa any space and time there. They know the threat that he poses, and they've got the numerical advantage here, Preston. Zinni was running in behind Mutakutis. Bernarda's pass just didn't quite favour the winger as he tried to make the run inboard.
That's exactly what I was talking about, Steve, though, with the way Preston likes to play. Win the ball in that type of area and then break with pace. Ball just didn't sit properly for Cuba to play the right type of pass. But they're the type of areas that Preston is so dangerous in. You could see Heidelberg could push numbers forward.
So it's this Preston side with a settled lineup in recent weeks. Are enjoying the bulk of the possession early. Nigro's looking to get the cross in to the back post area. No one there to meet it, but Jamal Ali's up from right back. To get the cross in, it was well blocked by Humbert. Marcus Humbert, one of the leading lights, is an attacking option from midfield with 9 goals in all comps this season, doing the defensive work and putting it out for the first Preston corner of the afternoon after just 15 minutes of action here in the New Balance Dockerty Cup final. 2026. Sian Cuba to deliver. Aaron Souza on his return from injury. Not sure if he's being targeted, but he's definitely being crowded in that 6-yard box here by Preston opponents. It's fizzed into that back post. Souza comes and claims well in the all-purple. Calm and composed goalkeeping, and that's what Heidelberg need this afternoon.
No signs of any injuries there for Aaron Souza, who'll take a lot of confidence out of claiming that one.
Just such a big surprise seeing him on the team sheet this afternoon. When we arrived at the ground, we'd heard the word that his injury was so severe that he'd be likely out for the season. Well, Lethlean's gone through his man there a little bit late, and will we see the first sanctions of the game here for the Heidelberg defender for that challenge on Dom Foligno, who I won't say he got set sky high, but he certainly got brought to his feet with that late contact. Just a talking to from referee Michael Uliaris.
He's a little bit lucky there, right and left leg, definitely very, very late leaving that foot in.
Last time he played at this venue, Ryan Lethlean, he was on the score sheet in the Australia Cup final against the Newcastle Jets, teed up with a back post header from Ben Collins after a set piece from Asahi Yokokawa, who's competing for the ball here. He doesn't get it again this time. He was well watched by Oliver Kubelet. Kubelet winning the New Balance Dockerty Cup back in 2023 against Heidelberg when he was at Oakley. Quite a few past winners in the Preston team. Ryan Scott winning it with Bentley back in 2018. Noel Bernarda, of course, winning it with South last year, and manager Zoran Markowski winning it with Avondale in 2021. And we have got Nick Debano on the sidelines, and we're ready to cross down to Nick for an update on the atmosphere and the pitch conditions down there. How's the intensity pitch side, Nick Debano?
G'day guys, yes, it is loud down here at the moment, right down here in front of the Heidelberg fans, and of course as well the Preston fans providing a brilliant soundtrack at the moment. Pitch is looking okay at the moment, more so to the right hand side, a little bit more chopped up the end that Preston are currently attacking compared to the other side, but quite calm, both sets of benches at the moment. Obviously there'll be a few tense moments between the players on the field inside those early few minutes. Just keep an eye on Nico Duarte going head-to-head with the Preston defence. That's looking like it could boil over at any minute given the they're playing on the edge so far. But all the hallmarks of a great cup final so far, guys. Back to you.
Thanks, Nick Debano on the sidelines. He's putting his body on the line out there between the two technical areas. To bounce in the penalty area. Maybe a risky move by Aidan Bryce, but they're able to clear it away, and they have been awarded the decision anyway from Michael Uliaris.
Very risky by Aidan Bryce to let that bounce inside your own area. It's one of the first things you're taught as a junior, just don't let the ball bounce. And that's the reason why. It causes a bit of havoc.
I just find, especially on these windy occasions, it can just hold up. It sort of, you get that tennis ball bounce once it pitches in the penalty area, and then it's so hard to get that secondary clearance. Foligno was there to provide a bit of support, but fortunately the whistle sounded anyway from Michael Ulia, who was the fourth official last time these sides met, earlier in the league season at Olympic Village. And it was Luke Francis who scored a 90th minute winner. He's not out there today. He's made the mid-season move to Brunswick Juventus, competing for a spot in the promotion race to play in the top tier of Victorian football next year. So it's another corner opportunity here for Preston. Will they take it short? Foligno was looking to provide the option. And again, it's Heidelberg defending with everyone back in their own penalty area. So it's a safety first approach as we approach 20 minutes. Sian Cuba with the delivery, drills it in, and Souza not taking any chances. A double fister out for another corner.
Interesting delivery there from Sian Cuba.
That camera angle there is fantastic insight into the swerve as he puts another ball into the box. Yokokawa's header. Can Heidelberg scramble this one away through Muda Kudus, shoulder to shoulder with Bryce. Play on's the call from referee Uliaris. Chance here for Lesiotis. Decides to distribute it quickly to Marcus Humbert. Left lean in support. The central defender turned left back for the afternoon. Had his shirt pulled there by Dom Foligno, and that has to be a Heidelberg free kick in a very promising position.
No need to give a free kick away in that area. You've got to recognise who your opponent is. He was going nowhere, Ryan Redley. Nearly one of the first time there, Dom Foligno. No need to tug at his shirt and pull him back.
So a very similar position to where Heidelberg scored from in the Australia Cup final. For Asai Yokokawa to float the ball into the back post perhaps. I'm not sure if they'll be able to recreate that goal, but Preston will need to be on their toes here. Looks like they've kept one player up near the halfway line in Stefan Zinni. Everyone else back in the penalty area. The one-man wall is Zach Cianci. So Ryan Scott keeping an eye on things here as it comes in. It's away by Cianci. All the way back to Razmovsky. Operating as the right back this afternoon is Kane Razmovsky. He rattled the crossbar in the second half in the league last week against Avondale. Hasn't scored too many goals, but couldn't have come much closer on that occasion to would have been a leveller. Duarte seems to be floating into those wide right areas and allowing Bramwell to play more through the middle. Shoulder to shoulder here, and the fans in the outer aren't too impressed because it's gone the way of Heidelberg. It's Noel Bernardo back doing the defensive work here, trying to find a way out of a cul-de-sac. Razmovsky, the Lesiotis. Humbert! Safely into the palms of Ryan Scott.
He just needed to get a flick onto that, didn't he, Humbert? Great ball into the area.
Some good signs there for Heidelberg, but they've got to have their defensive medal about them here. Here's Tavia. Kubalay, the metronome at the base of the Preston midfield. Out wide is Zinni. Everyone back behind the ball in the yellow shirts here.
It's a very, very deep block from Heidelberg every time Preston's ventured forward.
Lesiotis with the clearance. Bramwell's in a bit of space here. Pick out Duarte. Used his body well, but it was easily cleared away by Bryce, and it was a good ball too. It's going to break here for Zach Cianci. Zach Cianci bearing down on goal. And coming off his line well, it's Yaron Souza. And again, if there was any questions about the fitness of Yaron Souza, he's put them to bed there with the speed that he came off his line. Concerns for Zach Cianci, who's down holding the small at his back.
Great goalkeeper from Yaron Souza. Souza sprung off his line so quickly, put his body on the line. But again, you see those moments where Preston win the ball. I think that's the key for them this afternoon. is when they're not going to break down this deep block from Heidelberg. They're set up too well. But when Heidelberg do win the ball back and they go forward, Preston need to win that ball back very, very quickly, and then they're able to break with that pace going forward.
So again, it's Preston enjoying the lion's share of possession. Kubalay. Negro. Space for Cuba. He doesn't mind the long range shot, but even too far out for him that time. Definitely not enough space and time to attempt such an audacious effort on Sousa's goal. Long throw's a good one to find Zinni.
Struggling to find his feet in this one, Stefan Zinni. Just a few cheap turnovers every time he's got on the ball.
Zinni given the nod to start ahead of Gian Albano tonight, this afternoon should I say, after Gian Albano scored the decisive goal in the semi-final at Larissa Reserve against the North Sunshine Eagles. It was expertly set up by Noel Bernarda, who was fresh off his arrival from South Melbourne at the time, supplying a crafty assist. There's an off the ball incident there where Humpert's gone down holding his face, but the referee's had a look at it and he says it was only incidental contact, so play's going to continue here. Humpert's still down behind play. Heidelberg fans won't be enjoying this too much as the ball comes in. Zinni was there, flags up for offside. Heidelberg want to know what's going on. And now will the tray to be called on here for Marcus Humbert. Catch that replay again. It wasn't the initial aerial duel, I think it was the second bit of contact. Not a lot in it.
It's kind of just run into his arm. There's no malice involved there. I think what Heidelberg's complaints are that the play wasn't stopped. Usually when it's a facial injury that the play is halted immediately.
Heidelberg was relieved to see the flag go up from the assistant referee Nicoletta Sorteropoulos there and bring a halt to the Preston attack. So Humbert all good to continue. That wind certainly hasn't died down one bit out there. If anything, it feels like it's increasing. Around 17 degrees, but it's a windy afternoon by the Albert Park Lake for the New Balance Dockerty Cup final. I hope you're enjoying all the action wherever you're tuning in, whether you're in Melbourne, interstate, or abroad, or out in regional Victoria as well. This competition, Victoria-wide. We've had regional winners of it before, many years ago now, but very much in the inner city we are this afternoon, back like the good old days of this competition when it was played down the road at Olympic Park in front of heaving crowds, and that's what we seem to have this afternoon in here. Negro sends it up the line, only as far as Mudakudis. A little bit of a rainmaker by him. Header was by McGowan. It might break here for Razmovsky, who looks to get around his man in Negro with the burst of pace. Razmovsky throwing the step overs at Negro. Well away by Bryce. Just used the go-go gadget neck there to extend himself even higher into the sky to nod away that defensive header.
You can see what Heidelberg's trying to do though, get the ball out wide and try and get dangerous balls into the area. They did score that way last week, didn't they?
And Humbert fires it in, and Foligno was well placed to nod that one behind. So Heidelberg, with a couple of attacking patterns of play, winning themselves the corner kick this time. And Yokokawa will be looking to supply a quality ball into the box after his last corner attempt was leaving a little bit to be desired. Yokokawa fresh off, not playing in the league last week, gets this one into the back post area. And is it going to be over the line for Nico Duarte? Heidelberg first out of the blocks in the final. It's Nico Duarte. Great ball in by Yokokawa into that back post area. It was nodded back across. And Nico Duarte, he hasn't scored for a while in the Victorian competition. He scored in the Australia Cup over at Cumberland in South Australia a few weeks ago. but he's arrived with devastating effect here.
Great delivery by Yokokawa. Jeez, Duarte is the first to react to that ball across. Obviously a rehearsed move by Heidelberg. It's a deep ball. Jeez, you can't allow Duarte to be free like that. He's done extremely well though to finish that. Not easy. He knew where that ball was going. Felino's got to track that run, unfortunately. They just got caught ball watching that Preston defence. Superb delivery from Yokokawa.
Well, it looked like it was Kieran Bramwell's header at the back post, back across the goal.
He's done extremely well to win that header as well.
Just made it so hard for Preston to defend the ball once it came back across the goal. They couldn't react in time. And Heidelberg, you have to say, with their current form line against the odds, they lead this one on 30 minutes in the New Balance Dockerty Cup final for 2026. And the goal scorer, Nico Duarte, the man whose middle name is Rakova. It wasn't quite an Alvaro Rakova special, but in a final it doesn't really matter where they go in from, whether it's 1 yard or from 25. And that's a goal to remember there for Nico Duarte. It's his 8th of the season in all competitions. Scored a goal in Victorian competition since the round 7 of the Dockerty Cup against the Bentley Greens back in May at Olympic Village.
Needs to be careful now these next 5 minutes, Preston. Heidelberg's going to have to wind up their sails. A team that's been down in confidence for a number of weeks, taking the lead in such a big game, that's going to help settle them a lot. Preston got to weather that storm that's going to come for the next 5 or so minutes.
Going to script for Preston. This wasn't the game state they thought they'd find themselves in. Unbeaten in 11 games in all competitions. They find themselves trailing here. They trailed against Green Gully last week. And they're able to come back to 2-2 in that one. But Heidelberg have got a full head of steam up here.
Heidelberg coaching staff will be delighted with that as well. Yokokawa with the delivery and Duarte with the finish. Both inclusions into the starting 11 this afternoon.
Yokokawa. Heidelberg turning on the style here. Duarte trying his luck from a lot further out this time on the left foot. Never going to trouble an experienced goalkeeper like Ryan Scott from that area though. Chianchi. Ali plays it out in front of Chianchi. It's going to be out for a Preston throw. So it's Heidelberg sitting with everyone behind the ball at the moment. Kubalay. Bryce, that player with that great range of passing from central defence. Finds Zinni out wide. Collins with the clearance. Ball still alive here for Preston. Into the box, and Sosa can't get there! And it's 1-1! Zach Chianchi! The high jump mat is back in action at Lakeside Stadium. Well, this man is hot right now. He scored twice last week. And the prancing horse on the front of the red Ferrari is well and truly up and about at Lakeside Stadium. We're back at 1-1.
Jeez, that's exactly what the doctor ordered for Preston. A quick reply. Just a hopeful ball into the area. Jeez, that's incredible work from Zach Chianchi. Ryan Lethlean, who's probably a lot taller than Chianchi's, completely misread that. But credit to Sian Kubo, who's thrown his body about there as well. He's probably put Lethlean off a little bit there. It's come off Chianchi's shoulder, and you can see there just that element of Souza's injury. Wasn't able to go at full stretch. That's the risk they've taken this afternoon, Heidelberg, to start him. I feel like a fully fit Yaron Souza would have been able to leap through the air and get his hand onto that.
Well, what a moment for the 22-year-old Zach Chianchi, the former Bulleen Lion, now for the Preston Lions in the New Balance Dockerty Cup final. And it's gone in off the shoulder in the end, but as we saw on the replay, how about the joy on his face in that celebration? He is a player who is loving his football right now. And all of a sudden the momentum is going the way of Preston. Well, we expected this might have been a dour struggle, but we've got a goal apiece already with still over 10 minutes until the half-time interval. Maybe more to come before the break. Duarte's first touch, back to McGowan.
It's definitely gone off script this game, hasn't it? Especially between these two sides, it's been very, very tense the last two meetings in the league this season.
That's the thing we love about cup football, and in particular the New Balance Dockerty Cup. As we saw last year in the final, certainly did not go to scripts. And here's Chianchi again. Can he keep this in play? Cuba, Tavia. Good little combinations here for Preston on the edge of the area. Kubalay, oh, was he clipped there? Yes, he was. Heidelberg don't like it, but this is a really handy position here for Preston.
It's really intelligent play by Oliver Kubalay. Probably ran into a bit of traffic there. Was able to draw a foul. I don't think that pass was intended for Kubalay. Sian Kubalay was trying to hit Jamal Ali, but didn't see that he made a run forward. There's not much Marcus Humber could have done there. Really dangerous position now for Preston.
Oliver Kubalay is a player who enjoys playing at this venue. He scored a double here for Oakley against South Melbourne back in 2024. He won't get the responsibilities of taking this free kick though, as Souza organises the double wall. We've seen this from Heidelberg last season and this season a few times. I think it made its debut out at Jack Edwards Reserve last season against the Oakley Cannon, so if you haven't seen this before, Yaron Souza lining up a block of three, another block of three with a gap in the middle to give him visibility of the ball off the foot of the striker, which is Sian Cuba, a player who can hit them. Hasn't scored in the Dockerty Cup this season. It's Cuba, who might have taken a touch, and it's fired home by Stefan Zini on the rebound. And all of a sudden, Preston hit the lead in the New Balance Dockerty Cup final. It's Stefan Zini in the right place at the right time to lash home the second ball. And things are looking rosy for everyone in red.
Wow, hasn't this game changed on its head? Great hit from Sian Kuba. Souza couldn't get a strong enough hand to it. Falls at the feet of Stefan Zini, like you said, in the right place at the right time. It was a great hit from Sian Kuba. No one quick enough to react to Stefan Zini. That's Jay McGowan there. You need to charge out to him. Can't allow him to chest it down inside your defensive box and have a strike like that. I'll be disappointed with the way they defended that, Heidelberg, but can't take away from Stefan Zini. What a strike. That's the storyline there, isn't it, Steve? His dad, Andrew Zini, involved in the last win for Preston, their only win in a Dockerty Cup final in 1992. Played in that game, and now his son's put his side into the lead.
That's right, his dad, Andrew, scoring one of the decisive penalty kicks in that 4-2 penalty shootout win against South Melbourne in front of a massive crowd at Olympic Park. His dad, Andrew, also scored for Brunswick Juventus in a win over Heidelberg United in the final, also at Olympic Park back in 1987. And this time it's Stefan's turn to get onto the score sheet, the man who turned 30 last month. And we've got the first yellow card of the game out of the pocket from Michael Uliaris.
There's a little bit clumsy there from Noel Bernardo. Didn't need to throw his arm up. The supporters have come alive, haven't they, Steve, after that?
Well, here we were expecting a dour struggle this afternoon. We've seen 3 goals, and there's still time for more before half-time. It's reasonable to think on this narrower pitch here than both of these sides play out in their home and away matches at their own venues, significantly narrower than BT Connor, that there will be not much space for attacking incisiveness, but it's been quite the opposite over the last 15 or 20 minutes. Duarte opening the scoring on 29 minutes, Cianci with the reply on 34, and Zinni on 38 to give Preston the lead. Now it's Heidelberg chasing the game all of a sudden, which is a familiar feeling for them from the final last year.
It's going to be interesting to see how they react to this now. Heidelberg spoke about how Preston needed to be careful 5 minutes after conceding that goal. Now a team that's down on confidence, giving up a 1-0 lead in the space of 4 minutes.
Well, it was the corner from the opposite side which was the route to goal for Heidelberg to open the scoring. This one's let a bounce in the area. Mutakutis throwing himself at it. And the man with the long torso couldn't direct his attempt goal bound. Scott waiting for the ball kids to return the football to him. He's decided to ask one of the camera operators, one of the photographers down there, to get the ball. And Scott talked about the life of a semi-pro footballer since coming back down from the A-League on a podcast during the week, often getting a bit of 40 winks in the car after coming from the job site before training out at BT Connor Reserve is something that's somewhat of the norm for him.
Yeah, just listen to that podcast. You forget how long Ryan Scott has been around. Obviously started his career early at the Bentley Greens. He's no stranger to these big occasions against his former manager, Johnny Anastasiadis.
He probably would have had 2 Dockerty Cup triumphs to his name. He missed out on playing through injury the year before, but that Dockerty Cup win under John Anastasiadis in 2018. When he was at the Bentley Greens. Experience in that 2022 championship with Western United for Ryan Scott as well. He was an unused sub in the grand final, but certainly played his part with the megaphone and the active fans in the celebrations. Here's Negro striding forward, another player with plenty of A-League experience with victory in the Central Coast Mariners. He hooks the ball into the box. Picked up by Souza, another former Central Coast Mariner out there this afternoon.
It's been a happy hunting ground for Heidelberg, hasn't it, Central Coast?
Nico Duarte out there as well.
Preston will push too much now to get another one. They'll be happy to see it out at 2-1. Go into the lead go into the break with the lead.
The decision's gone Heidelberg's way here. They do seem to look fairly content with their 2-1 lead for the moment, Preston. I'm sure Zoran Markowski will be saying nothing crazy now. Let's play it out until the interval. We'll await the digital board from the 4th official, Fulya Guderian, in a couple of minutes to confirm the added time. There'll be a little bit, given that there's been 3 goals. No significant injury delays.
Chances have been few and far between as well, haven't they? Virtually all the chances that have been half created in this game have turned into goals.
I don't think the goalkeepers have barely registered a save. Souza saving from Cuba's free kick, but then it came straight back in through Stefan Zinni. What a first touch that was, by the way, and the volley to rifle at home. He couldn't have hit it any sweeter as well. If there was no net there, it would have continued on its trajectory into the Albert Park Lake, that strike. An absolute bullet from the boot of Stefan Zinni that gave Preston the lead.
He needed that goal as well. Said it a little bit earlier in the game, he was struggling to find his feet. The straight passes that we're not used to seeing from Stefan City.
Polino's header, flicked on by Cuba. Panada gets a touch. Hasn't had too many attacking opportunities in this first half. Out wide is Stefan Negro, the boy from Ballarat. He's been getting forward more and more as this first half has gone on. But that just leaves a little bit more space for Nico Duarte to exploit in behind. And here he is in possession here. He's going to find Marcus Humbert. He's got no one to his left, so he's forced to go back inboard. Lesiotis is there. Asmovsky getting forward, and it's a well-timed clearance from Stefan Negro. We've got that confirmation from Pulya Gadirian down there, the fourth official, and added 3 minutes. So it's time for an attack for either side yet if they're good enough and they want to have a go at the opposition's goal before the interval. So John Anastasiadis and Soren Markowski will be preparing their halftime team talks as we speak here.
Crucial now for Preston just to keep the ball, especially away from their goal, just try and retain possession in their forward line. Just need to be careful here, Preston. You don't want to turn the ball over in this area.
Lesiotis picks it up, but he's given it straight back to Oliver Kubalay. Some appeals for a handball that went unheeded by referee Uliaris, and Tavir can try and release Ali, and Preston might try and mount another attack here before the halftime interval. Tavir's ball in, comes off Ali. No problems for Yaron Souza. McGowan, who's picked up the ball in some central positions this afternoon, more than we're used to seeing him, usually operating out wide. And he's the man who's usually more central, playing it into the box as Ryan Lethlean.
He's done extremely well there, Ryan Lethlean, hasn't he? Well, a bit fortunate that Jamal Ali was out of position after he made that venture forward. Kubalay's not really got that much pace, so Lethlean was able to get around him.
Well, that's got to be that area that Heidelberg look to exploit on the counter-attack if Ali gets involved in the attacks, which we know he loves to do. Heidelberg know that as much as anyone. So it's Yokokawa's delivery here. Will he go to that back post area? A couple of players hit the deck. Bramwell might get there again. It's cleared away by Zinni. So just over 30 seconds of first half added time to go before the halftime whistle. Bramwell has got the assist to his name this afternoon for the Burgers. Razmovsky gets the decision, so the last chance of the first half might be a set-piece opportunity for Heidelberg. Concentration required until the halftime whistle here for Preston. Yokokawa just trying to judge what the breeze is going to do to the trajectory of this ball. There's plenty of red shirts back. In fact, every Preston player is back within their defensive penalty area here, as you would expect. As they sit on this 2-1 lead. Yokokawa, plenty of flight to it. Duarte won the header, and then Collins, then away by Chianchi, and that'll do us for the first half. Not a heap of chances, but we've seen 3 goals. And at halftime in the New Balance Dockerty Cup final, it's Heidelberg 1, Preston Lions 2. Not exactly what we're expecting to see, perhaps Mark Ivkovic, but Heidelberg allowing a lot more possession to Preston.
Yeah, probably definitely against the script. You thought Heidelberg did well to get the first goal, but Preston showed great character to fight their way back in and not only get an equaliser, but to take the lead. Heidelberg probably be disappointed to go into the break a goal down. I thought it was pretty a level playing field that first 45 minutes. No team really threatening the goal too much.
And we're going to get ready to cross now down to the sidelines where we've got Nick Debano, who is with the most recent goal scorer in this one, Stefan Zinni.
Thanks, Steve. Steph, I mean, very, very hot first half. Lots happening. Your thoughts on the first 45?
Yeah, typical grand final. Very cagey. Both teams don't want to lose, so limited chances, but I think we capitalised on our two, and big second half to come.
What are you going to do to close this one out?
I think we just got to keep attacking. We can't really rest on our laurels. We've just got to keep going at them, hopefully nab another one and call it a day.
Good luck for the second half. Thanks.
Stefan Zinni, scorer in the New Balance Dockerty Cup final for 2026. Preston with that 2-1 lead at halftime. We're going to take a short break here in the commentary position. Myself, Steve Curtin and Mark Ivkovic, and you can join us for the halftime chat alongside Nick Debano after this short break.
Welcome back to Lakeside Stadium for the halftime show here of the 2026 New Balance Dockerty Cup final. It's Preston leading 2-1. A hectic first 45. Steve Curtin, Mark Ivkovic. Heidelberg striking first, but 2 quick-fire goals see Preston with their noses in front going into the major break.
Yeah, it really set us up for a real grandstand match here when Heidelberg opened the scoring. You know, probably not the favourites coming into game day today. Good ball in from Yokokawa and, really good header back across by Bramwell. And then when you get those headers back across the face of the goal, it's so hard for defensive teams to know who to pick up and react to it. And that was the finish from Duarte from close range. Put it away, never in doubt, loves those sort of moments, lives for these occasions. Nico Duarte, he hadn't scored in Victorian football for a while. There's that goal there on the replay there, that header back across by Bramwell, and it really set us up, and then it really forced Preston to come out of the blocks, didn't it, Ivka?
Yeah, it did. You know, Heidelberg probably caught us on the hop with their formation. We spoke about probably a 3 at the back, but it was a back 4, so extra man in midfield. It's a little bit difficult for Preston to break them down. They had so many numbers behind the ball. But credit to Preston, found a way to get back in, albeit, probably half chances. And the risk to play Yaron Souza probably is backfired on that first goal, just didn't get a strong enough hand onto it. Didn't get enough reach onto it. And then the second one didn't get a strong enough hand onto it. You feel like a fully fit Souza probably deals with both of those a little bit better. But nonetheless, you can't take anything away from Stefan Zini's strike. He's hit that with the extreme power into the back of the net.
And that Zach Cianci goal, it was almost a bizarre goal. Yes, it come off his shoulder, but the delivery from Stefan Negro out wide, it was like he was almost off balance, almost like some kind of pre-training warm-up sort of volleyed kick into the box, and it goes past Yaron Souza off Cianci, and then Cianci's celebration was an absolute ripper as well.
Absolutely. A big few days for Zachary Cianci. Ivka, he threatened to score the opener when he got in behind earlier, and obviously talking about Yaron Souza, did really well to come off his line and make that save, but he had his moment there to get one back. He's looking extremely threatening, as is Stefan Zini, and that front 3 of Preston, since going behind, have really been able to turn the cogs, and now they've been able to find themselves in front.
Yeah, I think Heidelberg need to look at that full-back position, because Cianci has got too much pace for Lethlean to deal with. You feel like Anthony Theo is probably a better option for Heidelberg in that full-back position to try and deal with Cianci. I can see as the game goes longer, Cianci's going to have a field day out there.
Absolutely, Steve. I mean, from a Heidelberg perspective going forward, what have you made of the change up front with Bramwell and Duarte leading the line? Of course, Duarte got his goal from a set piece, but have you noticed anything different from your vantage point as well?
I mean, the big difference from last week is the return of Asahi Yokokawa coming back in, and he had a couple of key moments that got them going, got them some momentum early in the first half. He's just so good at getting that ball and turning and facing forward with a good first touch and creating something with 2 good players ahead of him, two options in Bramwell and also Duarte. If they can be in the right areas for him to find, if they can get more players forward in the wide areas, it's been a couple of times, it's been a problem for them. They've had the ball central, they've looked to the left, and there's no one except for a galloping central defender playing left back in Ryan Lethlean trying to get forward and support the attack. So it's going to be a matter of getting the right players into the wide areas. Joseph Lee was one that came on off the bench last week and struggled a little bit, but he gives you one option. But Max Pacetto, I think, for me, is one that we might need to see in the second half as far as the Heidelberg fans are concerned. He scored that brilliant goal in the grand final last year in the league. Maybe he can come on and do something special again.
Mark, Stefan Zini said at half-time that they have to keep going. They have to keep attacking. They can't afford to rest on their laurels. They're in the lead, but they've got to close this one out. Do you think that is something Preston need to do? Essentially go for the kill early in this half and not give Heidelberg even that opportunity to try and build themselves back into this game?
Not necessarily, because we've seen throughout the whole season Preston manage games really well. The amount of times they've won games 1-0 and just sat on that one goal, they've done it exceptionally well. And really, neither side has created real golden opportunities so far this afternoon. Obviously, Heidelberg's going to start throwing the kitchen sink the later the game goes and it stays the same. But I don't think Preston needs to go gung-ho. That's where they can get caught out by Heidelberg.
Will be a fascinating watch in the second half to see who will come away with the win. We'll be back very soon for the second half here at Lakeside Stadium. Don't go anywhere. It's Heidelberg United 1, Preston Lions 2.
Well, hello and welcome back for the second 45 in the New Balance Dockerty Cup final for 2026. It's Preston enjoying a 2-1 lead. Heidelberg opened the scoring through Nico Duarte on 29 minutes, then Zach Cianci scoring. Stefan Negro across, went in off Cianci's shoulder. Huge celebration from the 22-year-old, scoring on 34 minutes. Then just 4 minutes later, it was a Sian Cuba free kick saved by Souza and put back in emphatic fashion by Stefan Zinni to give Preston that 1-goal advantage going into the break. Players back underway here. No change to either side that we're aware of. Steve Curtin with you on the call alongside me. Welcome back to the gantry for the second 45. Mark Ivkovic.
Thanks, Steve. I think the benefit for Heidelberg chasing the game is that they've got this wind advantage as well. You definitely wouldn't want to be going against this strong wind if you're chasing the game.
Well, the breeze might just be dying down a touch as the afternoon's gone on. Still sitting on around 17 degrees, so a lovely August afternoon for this one, as was the case for last year's final out at the home, the Matildas as well. And similar to last year, after Heidelberg opened the scoring, they've been pegged back and trailing 2-1, but they've got a bit more time to try and get themselves back into this one, as opposed to Campbell Doverson's stoppage time winner last year, which was basically right at the last gasp. So Heidelberg attacking the Albert Park Lake end of the venue in this second half. Here's Humbert, the 21-year-old, scrapping for the ball in the centre of the park. Lesiotis, good distribution by him. Here's Nico Duarte, gets onto his left side, plays it across. Ryan Scott, fully committed, puts it behind for a corner, and the first corner of the second half goes the way of the Burgers.
It's been dangerous this afternoon, Duarte. He's struggled for form since coming down to NPL Victoria, but this is the most positive performance I've seen from him this season.
Looked hungry out there. He hasn't started too many games lately. Bernarda's gone down off the ball here before the corner kick has been supplied by Asahi Yokokawa. Duarte hadn't started in the last two outings for Heidelberg, but he got the start in the Australia Cup against Cumberland 3 games ago into the back post area. That's where Heidelberg seemed to like delivering their corner kicks too. It worked a treat for their opening goal of the game as Mosky goes to ground.
Their set piece delivery has been exceptional this afternoon, Heidelberg. Every single ball that they've put into the area has been dangerous for Preston to deal with. And when you do concede one in a game, you've always got that nervous energy when you're defending one. Just never feel comfortable.
We've got viewers far and wide this afternoon. We hope you're enjoying the call of this one, the 2026 New Balance Dockerty Cup, the storied competition that started back in 1909. One of the storied competitions of Australian sport. One of these clubs will etch their name on the trophy for the second time in their club's history this afternoon. Two great clubs. They first did battle in 1969 and in their 70th meeting. Again, there's not much between them, just 2-1 at the moment. Preston leading. Here's Negro, who got the assist for Preston's first goal. Cuba, who was involved in their second. And that's going to be too hot for even Stefan Zinni to chase down. I'm saying he turned 30 last month, but I don't think he started slowing down just yet for his pace.
Still a young man, 30's not that old.
Bramwell with the thick on. A little bit scrappy in the opening 5 minutes of this second half. I think the players are taking a little bit of time to wake up after coming out of the dressing rooms.
Yeah, that's usually what you get in these bigger games. Just the opening 5-10 minutes of a second half, a little bit laboured till they start getting warm again.
Negro. Razmovsky, little 1-2 with Mudakudis. Mudakudis operating as the central defender today. Bit of sweeper keeper from Souza. He's a long way out of his goal, and maybe Luka Tavir was trying to make a bit more of that, but the attack is still there for Preston. Collins put his body between he and Sian Cuba, between the ball and Sian Cuba, and he gets the decision with the support of the assistant referee over there on the far side, Matteo Brazale.
I know he was a fair bit out, look at the view, but geez, that was a golden opportunity there. If you got the right connection on it, Souza was nowhere.
I think he must have just sort of topped his shot like last time I was out on the golf fairways a long time ago. Just went along the ground. Lesiotis not too happy with the decision here. It's a Preston free kick in the centre of Lakeside Stadium as the cloud cover takes over again. Got the Cecil early plate coming up as well at 6 p.m. tonight between Williamstown from State League 2 and Altona East Phoenix from State League 1. Those two sides, the best performing State League sides in the New Balance Dockerty Cup this season, getting a chance to battle it out for a piece of silverware. And a showpiece occasion for them. Altona East Phoenix was knocked out by Heidelberg at Paisley Park. Back in round 6 of the competition, and Williamstown were knocked out by Caroline Springs George Cross out at JT Grey Reserve after they took the lead against the Channel Imperial Victoria outfit. Here's Kubalay, Bernarda dropping deep to pick up possession, and he's given it away, and Heidelberg might be able to try and mount the charge here on the break through left lane. He puts it out in front of Marcus Humbert, who's galloping up that wide left area. He's got a task on his hands though, trying to beat Jamal Ali in that situation.
We spoke about Bernarda in the pre-game show, Steve. He hasn't had too much of an impact in this game, but what he does do, as we said, you can see that Ben Collins has to follow Bernarda when he drops that deep, because you can't allow Bernarda to turn on the ball and run at you. That's where he's at his most dangerous. So whether he's affecting the actual flow of the game, he's still sucking his opponents out, creating that space, especially for Sian Cuba to make those runs in behind.
We've seen Bernarda as that option that can, as you say, he can drag the central defenders out of the play and then try and get a quick ball over the top into the wide area, something like, you know, the false 9 role that we've seen become popular, and then go a little bit out of fashion in the last couple of years. But he's certainly showing that here again as he picks up the ball back to goal and then feeds it to players running forward ahead of him, which is Cuba and now Chianchi. Zach Chianchi, goal scorer earlier in this match in the first half. No nonsense from Collins, who hoiks it into the Preston fans on the outer side of the venue.
Stefanini said at half-time that Preston need to keep going. They've definitely done that with the start to their second half. You can see they've got their foot on the pedal trying to get another goal.
You can see Max Bassetto has been sent to warm up. A key moment in last year's NPL Victoria Grand Final, him scoring in the second half.
It's going to be interesting to see who comes off, whether they do go for that back three that we were talking about, that we were expecting to see from the start. They did go to that back three last week against Avondale when they were chasing the game.
Mistake from McGowan has presented the chance here to Stefan Zinni, who's got a full head of steam up. He gets the ball across the face. Well, it wasn't quite dealt with. Bernarda had the chance, and Souza can breathe a sigh of relief.
Definitely breathe a sigh of relief. Geez, Bernarda, that is a golden opportunity to put your side 2 goals in front. Deal with that too well. Stefan Zinni with the pace down that left-hand side. Good ball into the area. He's completely missed it, Yaron Souza. The ball spilled out to Bernarda. So virtually an open goal for Bernarda. This will give us a better look at it. He's just snatched it at Bernarda, hasn't he? Probably had time to bring it down more comfortably.
Well, here they come again through Sian Cuba. Dipping the shoulder at Tasmuda Kudus, who's recovered to try and block the cross, but the cross does eventually come in, back across by Ali. Preston looking threatening now, 10 minutes into this second half. We've got Nick Dubano down on the sidelines, and we'll look to cross to Nick in just a moment, as we'll just wait for this play to develop here through Nico Duarte. Now that it is out of possession now and back in possession of the defending team, we will check in for a bit of a temperature check in the second half with our sideline reporter, Nick Dubano.
Thanks, Steve. Yes, immediately after that Bernarda chance, obviously Basetto was up and warming up. We'll come back to that. Actually, no, we'll stick with play for a second. We see they're already looking to make that substitution. Basetto getting stripped down and ready to go. The second that Bernarda missed, the Heidelberg coaching staff will get the paper sorted and getting things moving quickly. So immediately not resting on their laurels and waiting, even though they've had some half moments in this second half, not waiting at all. They're looking to make that change. It'll be interesting to see if it's a change of shape or anything like that by bringing on a more attacking player.
Well, thank you, Nick. So, good coaching, you'd say, from John Anastasiadis and Savas Patikas and the other assistants there for Heidelberg, not sitting on their hands when there's some red alerts going off, particularly in the shape of that chance that you were just dissecting a moment ago that Noel Bernarda side-footed over the bar from close range. So many times we've seen Bernarda scoring from that exact spot for South Melbourne. Sahi Yokokawa. So you just wonder, Mark, if Yokokawa, who didn't play last week, perhaps a little bit underdone today, carrying a bit of an injury concern, but that is a big out for Heidelberg. His set-piece delivery has been a key component of their afternoon.
Yeah, well, he's the one that took that corner, and his set pieces have been exceptional this afternoon. Even when he was getting in on the ball in those little pockets in between the lines, he looked dangerous. You can see he's extremely disappointed to be taken off.
So that is the first change from the benches for this afternoon, inside an hour. Basetto gets his chance. Will it be come with the man for Max Basetto?
I think that substitution's more a change in shape. Instead of a box 4 midfield, it's gone to a flat 4 across the middle of the park. And they started to get overrun out wide, Heidelberg. So Basetto playing on that left-hand side with Humbert and Lesiotis in the middle. And then Jay McGowan coming across on the right-hand side, just a flat 4. Probably gives him a little bit more width going forward as well. And then 2 target men in Duarte and Bramwell if they're able to get it out wide in good areas.
Well, just as quick as John Anastasiadis has made the change, Zoran Markowski is not to be left behind. And it's the goal scorer, Stefan Zinni, who's making tracks off the pitch with the trainer at the moment. Elise Ellsworth escorting Stefan Zinni, the goal scorer, off the pitch. And Leighton Brooks, who provided the assist for Luke Francis last time these sides met a few weeks ago in the league at Olympic Village, gets his chance. Looks like he's going to be lining up on the left. He lined up on the right-hand side on that occasion in that match, and he was directly opposed to Marcus Humbert, who was forced to play as a left-back on that afternoon. And I think you were there for that occasion, Mark, and Marcus Humbert had a bit of a hard time against Leighton Brooks.
Yeah, he definitely did. It was Brooks that made the difference in that game.
Preston fans finding voice on the far side, and they've got a lot to sing about. Long time since they've had their hands on the trophy last. They partied hard in 1992 when they got the win at Olympic Park. We've got another updating coming from our sideline man, Nick Dubano. And we'll cross down to Nick now, who's got a bit of an update on the condition of Stefan Zinni.
Yeah, Steve, just keeping an eye there on Stefan Zinni after he came off. Getting a bit of work done on his right leg. I've just spoken to someone at the club. It's a bit of hamstring tightness at the moment. Fingers crossed it's nothing worse than that. Of course, they have a hectic schedule coming up, playing for the Australia Cup next week, and then, of course, the run home with 3 key league games and whatever may lay ahead in the Cup and, of course, finals time. So something to keep an eye on after this one, but all what is, it's just a tight hamstring for now.
Thank you, Nick. Well, hopefully Stefan Zinni is able to get back out onto the park quickly for those upcoming fixtures that Preston have. As you say, it is a busy schedule. Australia Cup in midweek, and they've got that extra that game they had postponed against Melbourne City as well from earlier in the season coming up, which is sandwiched in between rounds 25 and 26. So plenty of football coming their way, and if they're to get past Brunswick Juventus in that local derby in midweek, they'll have yet another midweek clash sandwiched in between their league responsibilities. And the way that they've been playing with their form line over winter, there's finals football to come as well for this Preston side.
Yeah, not fully there yet. Like you said, a lot of games, and Adam Bryce doesn't go down too easily. This isn't good either.
Looks like the trainer, Elise Ellsworth, has been summoned back out there to check on the state of Aidan Bryce. We'll get Nick to keep an eye on that down there from the sidelines, but I'm not sure if has he copped a blow to the nose here, perhaps, Mark?
Not sure. He went down straight away. Yeah, I think you're right. You can see that blood coming out. Fortunately for him, he's wearing a red kit, so they can get disguised in that jersey.
He's even got the red boots as well to match. Shout out to our broadcast team, giving you the best look at the action from the comfort of your own home with the different camera angles today.
It's going to take a little bit of time for them to stop that bleeding. Put down to 10 men for a couple of minutes or so.
They won't want to substitute Aidan Bryce. They have got Matt Bozanowski available on the bench if they need. The Preston substitutes are going through their warm-up routines down on the byline in front of the digital scoreboard at the lake end of the venue at the moment. So this game, it still sits on a knife's edge here. Heidelberg could find themselves back in it very quickly, especially if Preston are going to play with 10 men for a few moments here. So we get going again through the drop ball. Oliver Kubelet is going to slot into central defence for the moment. Oliver Kubelet, who turns 27 on Tuesday, hoping for an early birthday present today. Here's Tasmuda Kudus. He's got Razmowski out wide. He decides to find McGowan, who in turn picks out Razmowski, who was unceremoniously brought to the ground by Leighton Brooks. Substitute there, conceding the free kick. As Mosky says, how about that? How many times have I been fouled?
You can see they change of shape there, working well for Heidelberg. Had McGowan and Razmowski there to work with. Very difficult to defend that type of movement.
So we are hearing from our sideline man, Nick DeBano, that Aidan Bryce is getting all taped up. Is he going to be running out there looking like the Elephant Man for the rest of this one?
It's back
on the park. Minimal taping, I would say, from here at least. He hasn't got the tape fully around the head like we do see sometimes in these emergency situations where the player needs to get back out there. It's a red alert here for Heidelberg. The flag's up. It's not going to count. It's not going to count for Heidelberg. Bernarda is down off the ball as well, but it was what looked like an offside decision. Well, drama here, but Michael Uliaris sounded the whistle nice and early there before that ball went into the back of the net. Let's see that again on the replay here. Humbert's free kick, and then a lot of chaos in the box, Mark.
Yeah, it was a good delivery. I think it was Collins that strayed into an offside position as that ball was played across.
So the indirect free kick to be taken, which confirms that the offence was alleged to have been an offside. Sent forward by Ryan Scott, and Preston, a nervy moment for them as they enjoy sitting on this 2-1 lead. I don't want to see it whittled away.
Again, another set piece from Heidelberg causing havoc in that Preston defensive box.
Even without Yokokara out there for the set pieces, Heidelberg's looking good. They've got Basetto free at the back post area there, but Duarte wasn't able to get his head up and spot the substitute.
When we saw Aidan Bryce on the far side of the pitch, he said that it doesn't have too much strapping on. Now that it's come closer to us, I think it's heavily strapped
Yes.
on Aidan Bryce.
It must have been very skin-coloured tape. I was imagining that emergency, in case of emergency, break glass sort of taping for the nose, where you just wrap it around and around and you'll be doing a bit of mouth breathing for the rest of the game.
Yeah, he is heavily taped up, as you can see now on the screen. It should be annoying to play as a player, wouldn't it?
You see some of those influencers running around doing nose-only breathing. This is mouth-only breathing here for Aidan Bryce for the next 25 or so minutes of this one. Brooks's header just about kept it in play. It did cross the touchline. Christian Theoharis is stripped and ready to go. Yet another former Central Coast Mariner ready to be brought into the action here. Hasn't really hit the height since arriving at Heidelberg West, Olympic Village. If there was ever a time to strike, this would be it, coming on as a sub today in the New Balance Dockerty Cup final. Away by Foligno, conceding possession to Mudakudis, who gives it straight back to Luca Tavia. Bernardo was closed down quickly. You can see Heidelberg not allowing Bernardo time on the ball. They know he's a real danger man. This ball out to Basetto, who missed out last week, but he's looking sharp and looking fit out there as he looks to take on his old teammate Jamal Ali. They would have had plenty of drills just like that one at training, and it's Jamal Ali who prances up the field with the football. And Basetto picking himself up off the floor.
Yeah, there was nothing in that. Basetto more ran into Jamal Ali. Ali stood his ground.
Got the replay of that one there on the screen. Basetto, one or two tricks, but Ali putting that left boot in between his opponent and the ball, and it was all Ali after that. Another change here for the Burgers. It is Christian Theoharis to replace Jay McGowan. McGowan, who had supplied an assist in the league game last Saturday for Kieran Bramwell. Put in a decent shift out there for 67 minutes, but it's his time to take a reprieve, and let's see what Christian Theoharis can muster up here. Looks like he's going to be deployed on the right flank. I'm not sure what his best position is these days. He played as a 10 last week, and it didn't really seem to work for him, Mark.
No, it didn't. Like you said, this is the moment for him. You know, he's come with a big reputation. Hasn't hit those straps yet. Obviously, he's not fully fit.
Well, he's made his presence felt out there right from the get-go. Into the book he goes, Christian Theoharis. That was a very late challenge on Stefan Nigro.
So Sasha Oganovsky not too happy. He was up on his feet straight away. That's a nasty challenge there from Theoharis.
It looked like it hurt a lot on Stefan Nigro, who's still down on his haunches there. Nigro with plenty of experience in big one-off finals. Played in that 2018 grand final win for Melbourne Victory.
He's made an impact coming onto the pitch.
Chianchi giving chase. Collins well positioned. Preston corner. And the Preston fans in the outer, urging on the boys in red. With the champagne on ice over at BT Connor Jenna Steele Stadium for the celebrations post-game. It's a disappointing corner. They might get a second chance here through Cuba. It's the Elephant Man in Aidan Bryce at the back post. Plays it inside to Kubalay. Space for Foligno. Can Tavir find room for the cross? Goes onto his left. Still he goes, Luca Tavir. Closed down by Lethlean, who stepped out of the defensive line to close down any kind of passing or crossing lanes. We get that change now. Another one for Zoran Markowski. Gian Albano, the goal scorer in the semi-final of the New Balance Dockerty Cup, the decisive one against the North Sunshine Eagles at Larissa Reserve, gets his chance.
Bit of fresh legs for Preston out wide. You can see Gianchi was slowly losing that pace. Obviously put in a big shift. What Albano does bring as well is a great defensive work rate. It's very underrated in his game. He's very good at tracking back. He's got very good pace at getting back and helping out his fullback. Obviously Heidelberg going to start chasing the game now.
Gian Albano, a Dockerty Cup specialist. All of his 3 goals this year have come in the Dockerty Cup. Played in that beaten Melbourne Knights side in the 2019 Dockerty Cup final against Hume City down at Kingston Heath. There's maybe a few more people here today than there was that day.
Yeah, just a bit. I was there that day, Steve, on the sidelines on my crutches, unfortunately. And yeah, that was probably the least attended Dockerty Cup final in recent history. So credit goes to Football Victoria. They've made this a grand event yet again, especially playing this one at Lakeside. It's just got such a big game feel to it today.
Looking back at some of the history of these clubs competing in the final glory days of this competition in front of huge crowds in the 80s and 90s at the old Olympics Park Stadium on Swan Street, Olympic Boulevard as it's now known down there. Certainly has all the feel of that, being at this inner city athletics track style stadium here by the Albert Park Lake. That's a mistake by Albano though. Theoharis finds Duarte out on the touchline. He doesn't manage to keep it in play. That's disappointing for Heidelberg. Disappointing for the Heidelberg fan in front of us, who's out of his seat in disgust.
Yeah, fortunate there, Preston. Albano's turned it over in such a dangerous area. Able to scramble back.
So we are inside 20 minutes to go. Heidelberg looking to mount a challenge in this one, but Preston enjoying most of the possession at the moment, as well as the lead. Foligno's ball forward, finds Brooks. If that wind is playing a factor, it feels like it has just picked up again in the last few minutes.
Yeah, it's on and off, isn't it?
Yeah.
It dies down for a couple of minutes, and then a couple of minutes later it picks up at that same velocity. When it does pick up, it's very, very strong. It's difficult for the players to read the flight of the ball.
Looks like Anthony Theo is going to be the next player to get a chance. Probably unlucky not to get a look in the starting lineup in this one today. Here's Cuba. Great first touch by the Queenslander. The pass leaves a little bit to be desired, and it's picked up by Lethlean. Preston coming forward here through Leighton Brooks. Still Brooks. Preston looking to kill the game off. The second goal would just about do that. So it was equal to the opportunity there, but his clearance has got the breeze behind it. It's just far too long, and it's through to his opposite number in Ryan Scott at the other end of the park.
It's really well read by Aidan Bryce. Just a nice little knock on there to Ryan Scott. Most centre backs would just knock that back into the midfield. Preston didn't have the numbers there, so really well read by Aidan Bryce.
It's too much on that ball from Luca Tavira, and that'll give us the chance. So it's going to be Nico Duarte who opened the scoring in this match. His shift is done this afternoon. So it's an attacker for a central midfielder.
He also started fading out of the game, didn't he? Duarte did have a good probably 55, 60 minutes, but that last 15 minutes or so really started to fade out.
He hasn't played more than about 45 minutes for quite a while. That match where he started against Cumberland United, he was subbed out at half-time in that one. His other appearances have only been off the bench in recent times, so probably an understandable change for John Anastasiadis.
We're seeing now Theo Harris and Bizzetto push up higher as natural wingers now instead of in that flat four midfield. Theo will give them more coverage in the middle of the park. For me, it's very hard done by at Heidelberg. Felt like he could have started this game as well.
He's a player with a lot of versatility, sometimes almost to his detriment as he's been deployed as a fullback and positions it. We give him a rap and he's just coughed up possession, so the commentator's curse isn't immune from happening even in the New Balance Dockerty Cup final. Jinking inside is Albano. It was cut off well by Razmoski, and Heidelberg can come through Theo. A little 1-2. Back to Anthony Theo. He scored against Cumberland United in the Australia Cup round of 32 over in Adelaide. Razmoski, he hit the crossbar last week on the left peg this time. It was always going to be a little bit ambitious from there. Ryan Scott not forced into a save. So inside 15 minutes to go. Not quite yet, but the clock almost starting to become the enemy here of Heidelberg. They had a difficult day, did Heidelberg, last week in the Nike FC Cup, the Women's Cup competition. Going down to the Essendon Royals. The case last year as well. Heidelberg going down in the Dockerty Cup and Nike FC Cup finals last season.
Remarkable that they made both finals last season and this season as well.
So at the moment, unless they can find a moment of magic here, they risk that fate happening again. Try and get Nick Debano with you shortly to give us an update on what's happening down there on the sidelines. Must be getting very tense, very, very tense down there, Nick. Let's cross down to Nick now. Nick, can you hear us?
Thanks, Steve. It's quite tense here at the moment. You can sense that Heidelberg, there's a bit of frustration at the moment with the manner in which this second half has gone so far. They haven't really been able to put this Preston under a lot of pressure in the last few moments. Not too much movement at the moment. Of course, that Heidelberg have emptied their clip in terms of making their 3 subs in the windows that they have available. Come back to that in just a sec.
Here's Albano across the face of the goal. Is it there for Preston? Oh, it was almost sitting up perfectly for Leighton Brooks. And in the end, it's away by Collins. Preston with a chance to kill the game off. And we'll just check back in with Nick again now.
Yeah, geez, what a moment that was there for Preston to put this one potentially out of reach. I mean, it's just felt like Preston have had this second half in their control, and Heidelberg just have not been able to swing control back in their favour. That Preston side at the moment, a few of the players like Stefan Zini and Zach Cianci are up. You can feel a bit of the nerves that they can sense that they're close, but these next 12 minutes plus stoppages are going to feel like an eternity for those Preston players, and I'm sure the complete opposite for the Heidelberg players. We're seeing this clock tick ever closer to the 90 minutes here.
Thank you, Nick Debano down the sidelines, giving us all of the insights down there on the athletics track as this match reaches its final mature stage as we have just over 10 minutes to go.
We spoke at the halftime break about Preston's game management. It's probably the best in the league. They're so good at defending those 1-goal leads. They've won so many games 1-0. They've really managed the second half well, limited Heidelberg any type of space going forward. Happy for the back four to have it, but as soon as it reaches these kind of areas, it become very compact.
They've only really created a couple of half chances from set pieces. We had one halted by the assistant referee's whistle. And they've got the numbers here. Bernarda Albano is in space on the near side here. It's a great sliding challenge by Lesiotis.
See the big danger for Heidelberg though as they start to chase the game and it becomes stretched. Preston with those numbers going forward, fresh legs as well out wide.
Thea Harris, he just lost possession all too cheaply. And Kublai can bring it forward, and Kublai continues his run. Flag stays down here for Oliver Kublai. Forces a great save out of Yaron Souza.
What a save by Yaron Souza.
And Oliver Kublai, who loves playing at this ground, he doesn't get many goal-scoring opportunities. He almost sealed the game there. He hasn't scored this season for Preston. fingertips away from putting the game to bed. Aaron Souza keeping it alive.
Took a risk starting him, as we said, maybe at fault for a couple of those, for both those goals, but that's why they brought him in, those one-on-one moments. It's one of the best, Aaron Souza. It's a great pass by Sian Cooper as well.
Corner's driven in. Bryce is there. So inside 10 minutes to go in the New Balance Dockerty Cup final. Enjoying all of the action wherever you're tuning in this afternoon. Steve Curtin and Mark Ivkovic with you. Up in the gantry. They might be able to cross back down to Nick Devano on the sidelines. One last time before the end of the 90. Brings it down. Did really well there, won the header and then drew a crowd and lost possession. As you said, Mark, the game management for Preston has been so professional in this second half. The clock has just run down without their goal, without Ryan Scott being threatened barely at all as he sends this ball forward.
He's done ever so well. Ben Collins on Bernarda today. Really outmuscled him.
Here's Kane Razmowski getting forward from right back. Negro to beat. Just about got the nutmeg there, but there was no way past Foligno. In fact, it was Kubalay getting back to help out his central defenders. Thea Harris. Can he turn back the clock here to his younger years? A dazzling dribbler back in the day. Aaron Souza telling the Heidelberg fans, get off your seats, get up and roar us back into this one as they get the set piece opportunity. Thea Harris to take. 8 minutes to go in the New Balance Dockerty Cup final for 2026. And if ever Heidelberg needed a goal, it was now.
Very, very similar position to the one that got disallowed.
Decent ball in off the boot initially, but just the wind and the trajectory of that ball just far too close to Ryan Scott.
It looked like initially it was a good delivery, but a poor delivery in the end. Very comfortable for Ryan Scott.
Just the wind favouring that end. He probably needed to start it a couple of metres to the left of where he actually directed it. Collins trying to complete the defensive header in those windy conditions. And he succeeds in putting it out for a Preston throw, and they can take a bit more time off the clock here too.
Running out of time, Heidelberg, they really need to lump it forward now, get numbers forward.
There's no 5-second rule about the throw-ins here like we saw in the World Cup employed in this competition just yet. Seville's got a little pocket of space here, closed down quickly by Humbert. Foligno. Brooks is out wide. Brooks going down, looking for the free kick. No whistle for Leighton Brooks, a man who has scored 3 goals in this cup competition this year.
This second half's played out how we thought the first half was going to play out. It's a tense affair.
Collins wins the header. Heidelberg just can't seem to get control of the ball in the Preston half.
It's because Preston's so good at winning the second ball. You can see the desperation to win that second ball. You know, if they lump it forward or a missed straight pass, they're so quick to win that ball back.
So they do get themselves the free kick here. Lesiotis to take. It's not quite time to send Aaron Souza forward just yet. And again, Preston with that high defensive line. A lot of teams you'll see dropping back to the 18-yard box there, sitting on closer to 25 yards as Lesiotis plays the ball in. Collins and Mutakutis were battling for it. It might drop for Theoharis. He's going to try the dipping volley onto the roof of the net. Well, just for a moment there, it looked like Ryan Scott might have been tested.
Yeah, he was scrambling there, Ryan Scott. So he didn't get the full clearance that they wanted. He had that covered though, Ryan Scott. He knew in the end it was flying over.
What a great angle of that replay there to see the trajectory of that shot from Christian Theoharis. You can see the hunger for the ball there. Mutakutis winning the header. Bit of friendly fire with Ben Collins colliding into him as they competed for it. But they're going to need more of that. Heidelberg in the next 5 minutes here.
We'll start to see Preston taking less risks now. 5 minutes of normal time remaining.
Forward by Bramwell. Theoharis does well this time. Finds Anthony Theo. Now Lesiotis. Heidelberg can try and build something through midfield here. Anthony Theo can drive forward. Can't find his pass. Didn't get on the park in the final last year, Anthony Theo. He's previously played in a losing final for Heidelberg when they went down to the Oakley Cannons at Kingston Heath.
They can't afford to keep turning the ball over like this, Heidelberg. They need virtually the perfect final 4 minutes. Everything needs to be clean, quick, and with a bit of urgency now. It felt like they've left their last-ditch attacking a little bit too late in this. Needed to start 10 or so minutes ago.
Just having trouble getting the ball down on the ground at the moment. It seems to be getting caught in the wind, bobbling around. Not really been able to complete 2 or 3 or 4 consecutive clean passes. And again, Negro cuts this one out. Albano, a deft touch to Tavia. He's got options to his right, but he decides to look to his left. And the ball's just going to run out of play in front of Sian Cuba.
And that was the wrong option. He had 2 very good options in Bernardo, and especially Brooks making an excellent run on that right-hand side. It's probably the pass that Heidelberg was expecting, hence why he's probably gone through that reverse pass to Cuba, just had too much weight on it.
There's Lesiotis Spacetto, who's drifted inside from the left wing in a good pocket of space. And Humbert, who's drifted from inside to out. Lesiotis with the overlap run. They'll get the corner here, the Burgers. And the Heidelberg fans on the grandstand side finding a bit of voice to urge on their charges. And their nickname is the Warriors, and they want to see them playing like Warriors in these final few minutes here and try and get themselves level. You can see the tension on both benches. Substitutes that have done their time standing up. No one sitting down anymore with the tension that is building here. It comes into the box. Left lane's header. It's away by Bryce. It's smashed forward by Brooks. Sousa thought about coming, and it could be on here for Gian Albano. Gian Albano, the cup specialist. Tavir had moved temporarily into an offside position. And a great bit of defensive work. It looked like Kane Ravsmovsky getting back. He had to cover a lot of ground there. Well, the tension is so high, even Mark Ivkovic is standing up next to me. You don't see that too often in the gantry.
No, you don't. Jeez, you thought Albano was away clear there to seal it for Preston. Ravsmovsky, extremely good defensive work to get back. He just couldn't bring the ball down properly, Albano, could he? Looks like Preston's going to shut up shop now. Matt Bozanovsky ready to come on. George Mialidis as well.
Oh, you say that about that attack from Gian Albano. It's been the story of this second half, you fancy. No one really able to get the ball down on the ground. Bernardo and Collins scrapping for it. Bernardo wanted the free. Bernardo beats the turf in frustration. Needs to get back up and get himself onside because they're back in possession here, the men in red. Here's Brooks challenging for the ball, but even better was the timing of the challenge from Ben Collins.
Last-ditch defending there by Ben Collins.
Negro's been everywhere at blocking those balls down that right-hand side for Heidelberg. As we hit the 90 here, it's a double change. Bernardo has run his race in this one. He won't get himself a Dockerty Cup final goal. Cuba is the other player coming off. So those changes will be completed. It's the tall figure of Matt Bobzanowski going in to shore up the defence. 195 centimetres. The former Melbourne Victory defender. He's competing for the ball straight away. Didn't win the header, but he's gone down in a bit of a heap here with his first involvement, Matt Bobzanowski. He might have landed awkwardly on his shoulder. Let's take a look at that one again on the replay. He's literally been out there only for a couple of seconds, had big Matt Bobzanowski. Aerial duel with Ryan Lethlean.
Landed a bit awkwardly as well, Matt Bobzanowski. 5 minutes of added time, got put up in the midst of those substitutions as well. Never ideal when teams make a substitution on the 90th minute.
You fancy we're going to have added time on added time as a result of this. Matt Bobzanowski back up on his feet. Sucking in the big ones at the moment. Is there to be a late added time goal here in this one for either side? Preston down to 10 just for the moment. Bobzanowski told to wait on the sidelines before he can come back on. And now he charges back out onto the park. So we're back to 11 on 11. Collins in possession. It's the Heidelberg captain's ball into the box. It's away by that wall of red. Preston Lions defenders. Bobzanowski wins the header this time. Good touch, Razmoski on the volley. Oh, it bounced a little bit awkwardly in front of Ryan Scott. Probably a routine save in the end, but sections of the crowd had their heart in their mouths there.
Yeah, he went the opposite way, Ryan Scott, and had to quickly correct his footwork.
Might be able to cross down to Nick DeBano for one last time before the end of the match in just a moment. We'll just see if this play develops here for Heidelberg with Theo and Theoharis. Christian Theoharis, can he get a good ball into the box here? One way, then the other. He sent Negro the other way. Anthony Theo, Scott makes the claim. And let's go down to the sidelines with our sideline reporter, Nick DeBano.
Steve, they're seconds away now. They're hanging on. You can feel the nervous energy at the moment, but with every passing claim, like in that save there from Ryan Scott, it's almost like a goal for them. Simply, you get the sense it's all about territory, it's all about clock management. But geez, it's an unbelievable atmosphere here at Lakeside Stadium, particularly here pitchside. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Nick DeBano down the sidelines. I'm glad that you can hear us from down there because it is getting louder by the second at Lakeside Stadium as Preston get closer to a second New Balance Dockerty Cup.
I feel like there's one big chance left in this, Steve, don't you, for Heidelberg?
There often is, and it's a matter of having that composure in the moment, being ready for it when it falls to you. So is he just getting the correct blade of grass to take this free kick from, which just take more time off the clock. So it is a nominal 5 added minutes, but we're going to have added time on added time for the Matt Bobzanowski injury and the double substitution that Preston made right on the 90. Here's Tavir. Can he keep it in play? He had a free Leighton Brooks in acres of space. If he could have kept it in and switched the play. Instead, it's a chance for Anthony Theo. in a tight pocket of space. He just finds a bit of time and puts the ball into the box, but it's straight onto the head of Matt Bobzanowski. Well, they're almost there, Preston.
They've dealt with this storm pretty well, haven't they? That introduction of Matt Bobzanowski has been really key for Preston. It's 2 interceptions he's made now.
So that 5 minutes now has elapsed. Will be at the discretion of referee Michael Uliaris. But they're so close now, the Preston Lions. Can Heidelberg find one last chance? And again, it's repelled by those red shirts. And there's a chance for Luca Tavir, who's motoring forward here. Luca Tavir, one-on-one with Souza. It's terrific from Tavir. And Preston Lions are going to win the New Balance Dockerty Cup for a second time in their history. And look at these scenes here at Lakeside Stadium.
What a way to win your second New Balance Dockerty Cup in the club's history. Look at what it means to them. It's expertly taken down by Luca Tavir in his own half. Cheated a little bit. Made sure he stayed in his own half. Just put his head down, and there was no doubt about it. Once he broke free, he wasn't going to miss from there. And that's the ball game there, Steve.
Well, Luca Tavir, a player of such professionalism, he epitomises all of that quality of the modern era of NPL Victoria football, and the New Balance Dockerty Cup is richer for the experience of having Luca Tavir back in Victorian football. And what a moment for him. Back across the Nullarbor from Perth Glory, and back with a bang, back with a decisive goal to give Preston Lions their second New Balance Dockerty Cup. Heidelberg fans filing through the exits here. Preston ready to celebrate. It's been a long, long time since they've been able to lift this esteemed trophy. Theo Harris's dipping shot, it took a deflection. Away by Ali. Have we got time for any more? How to play on the far side. Preston fans, they're all on their feet on the far side, on the outer. They're going to be partying hard back at Jenna Steele, BT Connor tonight. It's in by Collins. Theo Harris flew highest. They're ready to celebrate. And after 34 years, Preston are the Cup Kings of Victoria again. The sweetest of feelings for those in red. And they're going to party like it's 1992 all over again. Preston Lions, New Balance Dockerty Cup winners for 2026. It's Heidelberg 1, Preston 3. And Preston, what a great second half performance by them, Mark Ivkovic.
Yeah, thoroughly deserved to take out the New Balance Dockerty Cup, didn't they, Preston? They managed that second half to perfection. Limited Heidelberg to virtually zero chances. Yes, they came at the end. They were always going to. I got them with the sucker punch right at the end through Luca Tavir. But, Heidelberg were good value for that opening half an hour in the game, but just really faded away once Preston got that equaliser, and then obviously the second goal in the game, it was all Preston from there on in.
Well, what a moment for Preston, a team that's been down the leagues and they've come back up and they find themselves sitting at the top of Victorian football again, the Cup Kings in the New Balance Dockerty Cup for 2026. It's a second Dockerty Cup win as manager for Zoran Markovski after winning with Avondale in 2021. And it's a second one for players like Ryan Scott, Oliver Kubelet and Noel Bernarda, who've won Dockerty Cups before with Bentley, Oakley and South Melbourne respectively. We'll cross to Nick Devano down pitch side in a moment as the celebrations continue here. Oh, what a joyous day for these players in red. Fans on the far side, they're lapping up this occasion. for Preston, for their on-field staff, their off-field staff, David Svetkowski, and all of their hard work on the committee, what they've achieved with this club. Enormous crowds week in, week out. And we're going to cross to Nick DeBano, who's got Luca Tavir, who scored the sealer in this one, down on the pitch. Nick DeBano.
Yes, here now with Luca Tavir. Luca, how good is this?
Oh, mate, what a feeling. You can look at the fans over there. They're so passionate. They haven't been with us for 2 weeks. And, he gave us that extra energy today. I think we deserve the win.
Sum up this game. I mean, you guys went behind early. You got those 2 goals back before half-time, and then you guys really were able to take control of the game in the second half. I guess run us through the last 90 minutes.
Yeah, I guess the first 20 minutes, I still think we played pretty well the first 20 minutes. It was just a set piece that we got caught, but then after that we got on top of the game, and we knew it was a game of 90 minutes, not the first 20 minutes, so we kept our cool and just kept going.
Run us through the last few weeks, mate. I mean, there's been a lot happening for yourself in your professional career, obviously now coming back to Preston here. I guess take us through the last couple of months and now to cap it off with this and so many more exciting moments potentially ahead this season.
Yeah, obviously it was a great experience going into the A-League, and I learned many valuable lessons, but it's been really great to come back here, and I feel at home already, and I just want to keep playing my best and hopefully win more trophies for Preston.
Well, Luca, congratulations again and good luck for the rest of the season, mate. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Nick. Amazing to hear from Luca Tavir. What a game he had this afternoon. We'll have Aiden Bryce joining Nick in just a moment, but these celebrations, it's going to be hard to wrestle Aiden Bryce away from these celebrations. We'll hopefully speak to Zoran Markovsky as well. But these scenes are going to go around the Australian football scene, no doubt about this. The entire Australian football community will be keeping a close eye on this, whether you're in Melbourne here, interstate, in regional Victoria, or even abroad. These scenes, this great club, Preston Lions, after 34 years, they lift the New Balance Dockerty Cup again, as Nick DeVano is over there with Aiden Bryce, and we'll just wait for confirmation of that. Of course, spare a thought for Heidelberg. This is their 7th New Balance Dockerty Cup final. They've only got 1 win to their name. Beaten in the final last year, 2-1. Beaten again today, 3-1. It's very much a case of to the victor go the spoils here. Preston Lions. We're ready to cross down to Nick DeBano, who's with the winning captain, Aiden Bryce.
Thanks, Steve. Aiden, how good's this, mate? Like, I mean, to win the Dockerty Cup, packed grandstand here, an incredible achievement for the team.
Yeah, absolutely. At the start of the year, we wanted to win trophies, and this was the first one that was up for grabs. First time having the crowd back in a couple of weeks, and they really got behind us and pushed us through, so it's an excellent result for the boys.
How are you? I mean, you got copped a big whack in that second half. You had to get taped up. You had the tape going. You know, it looked quite tough out there for yourself, but you pushed through. How are you feeling after that?
Yeah, copped a little whack in the nose and had to get taped up, but it's going to be a battle today. It's going to be blood. You have to play with your heart, play for blood, play for sweat. And yeah, copped another little whack, but look, mate, you just keep going. You don't think about it, and when you get a win like this, mate, it doesn't matter.
What could this do for the rest of your season? I mean, you guys have been hitting some great form over the last couple of months. You've got still a whole load of competition still ahead of you, but winning a trophy like this, what could this do for the rest of the year?
Oh, mate, this is massive for us. Bit of crap that happened a while ago and whatnot, but the boys kept believing, and having this behind us now, and whatever happens at the back end of the year, this will really push us on to the finals and obviously the Oz Cup as well.
Well, mate, that's a problem for another day. You can go celebrate now. Congratulations and good luck for those competitions as well. Thank you.
There you have it there. Aiden Bryce. What a game he had this afternoon, Mark.
Yeah, another standout performance by Aiden Bryce. Quick to rip that bandage off as well. But look at what it means to these Preston players. You really, you've got to feel for them with the stuff that they've got to deal with what's happening off the park at Preston. The players have put in an unbelievable shift this season. Point deductions and so much hanging over their head every game they go into at the moment. But to pull together and bring home a trophy to the club. Credit to Zoran Markovsky as well. Don't take anything away from the work that Louis Osevsky built over the years, getting Preston back into the NPL and making them a powerhouse again. But it felt like the timing was right for Zoran Markovsky to come into Preston look at the players he's been able to attract to Preston. They've all been match winners for them, and it just felt like it's taken Preston to that next level that they wanted to go to. He's a serial winner, Zoran Markovski, in his first year at the club.
Well, we're ready with Zoran Markovski now. We'll go back to Nick DeBarno with the winning coach, Zoran Markovski.
Zoc, congratulations, mate. I mean, how do you reflect on that? An incredible 90 minutes, going behind, then bouncing back in the manner that you did.
I thought the boys' character come back from 1-0 down and scored 2 goals in a couple of minutes. And I think we had numerous opportunities. I think Heidelberg got us at a set piece, and that's all they were good for, set pieces. And we probably had 3-4 good opportunities early on before Luka Tavir killed the game off, and should have killed it off earlier, but it was tense at the end. But my boys were just super, yeah.
How good is this? I mean, a wall of support behind you that were willing you guys on all day. I guess these are the moments it's all for, right?
100%, Nicky. I think you look at it, this club's got a lot of backlash the past few weeks. And then, majority of supporters, there's 10, 12 people that stuff up the football club. That's the backbone of the football club. One thing, all these clubs go against Preston thinking, Preston shouldn't have been in the league, whatever. This is the powerhouse of Australian football, yeah? You can't beat this. So in the end, this community, our crowd today, this is massive for them. We haven't run a Dockerty Cup for 35 years. All these clubs can go against us. They want to be a Preston fan. You know why? Because we're the best in Australia.
Well, Zoc, what could this do for the rest of the season now? Because it's one trophy, but there's still so much lying ahead. And I'll tell you what, for what this group, you guys have been hitting some really good form over the last few weeks as well. What can this do to buoy the team on?
It's inspiring. Obviously the belief. We've got a lot of belief for 11 weeks. We're undefeated in the league, but obviously cup games, all the form goes out the window. But Heidelberg are a good team, but for us today it was super that we got the result. But moving forward, we've still got some big games. We've got an Australian Cup game on Wednesday. We've got to back up there. But there's a lot of belief in my boys, and I'm confident we can go a long way this season.
Well, Zoc, go celebrate. Congratulations yet again. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Well, there you have it. Zoran Markovski with Nick DeBarno down there, and Zoran becomes the second Preston Lions coach to lift the New Balance Dockerty Cup after Ian Dobson in 1992, when Preston were winners on penalties, 4-2 against South Melbourne at Olympic Park. Could we have handled the tension of penalties this afternoon if it had gone that far, Mark?
Definitely not. But I'd be happy with that stat, Zocky. Won a Dockerty Cup as a player, playing for Green Gully under the tutelage of Ian Dobson. He was his coach for a long time. So, yeah, like I was saying before we went to that interview, he's brought that elite winning mentality to this club with some of the recruits that he's brought across. It's big pressure coaching Preston Lions. They've waited a long, long time for a trophy. To be able to do it in your first go, for Preston not to even play in a Dockerty Cup final since 1992 is remarkable. But they'll enjoy this tonight.
Well, you mentioned earlier as well the credit of the work to some of the coaches who've got them here as well. Louis Jaseski, more than any other. They've had some tremendous non-playing staff that have helped them get back up the leagues from desperate times to the jovial celebrations that are going to take place tonight. And for Heidelberg, again, it's disappointment again in this one. They'll have to dust themselves off and get back up and running for the Australia Cup round of 16 in midweek against the North Sunshine Eagles. They'll probably fancy themselves to get the win there against a second-tier opponent and not have to travel. For them will be a plus, but for Heidelberg, I guess the attention will turn to now making sure that they can get themselves to be entrenched in the top six. We'll take a look at some of those match highlights here. It was Preston's first goal, Zach Cianci. An unusual sort of way that it came about. A right-footed volleyed cross from Stefan Negro and then off the shoulder. And how about the celebrations? And how about this goal, Mark, from Stefan Zinni?
Yeah, you couldn't write a better script, could you? As we said during the game, his dad played in that last time that Preston lifted the trophy. Of course, he was always going to get on the score sheet.
So that was the scorers this afternoon. Nico Duarte opening the scoring, assisted by Kieran Bramwell on 29 minutes. Cianci and Zinni. Then we will cross now to the presentations of the New Balance Dockerty Cup for the Preston Lions.
In Victoria. We would like to thank our major partners for the first time, New Balance and Belgravia Apparel, La Trobe University and the Victorian State Government. And our support partners, Mitre, Vintage, Sports Aid, badges and medals, and Red Bull for making today's event possible. And now for the presentations, can we please welcome to the stage Football Victoria's Advanced Referees Manager, Andrew Mamarakis, to present the referee medals. Starting with fourth official, Puya Gandirian. Assistant referees, Nicoletta Sotilopoulos and Matteo Brazale. And our referee, Michael Uliaris. Please welcome to the stage Malcolm Mackay, the son of Football Australia Hall of Fame inductee and legendary Socceroo Jimmy Mackay, to present the award named in his honour for the best player in the Dockerty Cup final, as judged by today's appointed match officials. This year, the Jimmy Mackay medal is awarded to Luca Tavia of the Preston Lions. Please welcome to the stage Football Victoria CEO Dan Birrell to hand out the runners-up medals. For Heidelberg United, number 1, Yaron Souza. Number 4, Ryan Leslie. Number 5, Tas Murdakudis. Number 6, Anthony Lesiotis. Number 8, Marcus Humbert. Number 9, Kieran Bramwell. Number 10, Asahi Yokokawa. Number 14, Kane Rasmovsky. Number 17, Jay McGowan. Number 16, Nicholas Duarte. Number 27, Nicholas Simos. Number 11, Christian Theoharis. Number 20, Max Musetto. Number 18, Anthony Theodoropoulos. Number 19, Joseph Lee. Number 22, Ashton Bonzel. Head coach, John Anastasiadis. And captain, Ben Collins. Can I please speak to Ben Collins, who's going to say a few words?
Yeah, thanks everyone for coming out. Makes it a special occasion. Scotty, the boys, yeah, congratulations. Hope you celebrate and yeah, we'll pick ourselves up and go again. So thank you.
And now to present the winners' medals, can we please welcome Football Victoria's chair, Dr. Angela Williams. Number 1, Ryan Scott. Number 2, Dominic Folino. Number 4, Jamal Ali. Number 11, Stefan Zini. Number 19, Oliver Kubele. Number 20, Zach Gianchi. Number 24, Noel Bonata. Number 27, Luca Tavia. Number 32, Stefan Negro. Number 80, Sian Cuba. Number 7, Leighton Brooks. Number 9, Jason Romero. Number 13, George Mihalidis. Number 15, Matthew Bojanovsky. Number 77, Gian Albano. And number 99, Mayan. Head coach, Zoran Markovsky. And number 5, Aiden Bryce. I would like to welcome New Balance Sports Brand Marketing Specialist for Australia, Mitch Knight, to present Preston Lions with a trophy. I'd like to invite Captain Ryan Scott to say a few words.
Thank you. Just quickly, first of all, to Heidelberg, to Johnny A. Had the pleasure of working for so long, mate. You're an absolute champion of the game, mate. Much respect for you. Benny Collins, Heidelberg. Guys, to be honest, last season you were so good. Last season you guys were so good. I think you inspired the whole country, every MPL team to achieve success. So sincerely, thank you for inspiring us. And I'm sure we'll see you again further down the season, guys. Keep going. Keep going. Just to our club, what a ride it's been. It's been a tough year. So proud of this group. With all the outside noise, we've kept focus, we've kept discipline inside the four walls, and we've got some success today. To a couple of names, Preston was in a good way a long time ago. Louis, Zach, Dave, he's worked hard, stuck fat, and the club's getting success. To our volunteers, our board, our members, thank you so much for all your hard work and support. Our sponsors, 140 of them, supporting this club to make it what it is today. To the coaches, Zoki, Jeff, Sash, everyone, on this one, Zoyce, the legend Zoyce, what a man. Guys, so proud. The last one, the Preston Army. Home and away every week. You guys are the best supporters in the country. And this one's for you.
And I present the 2026 New Balance Dockerty Cup winners, the Preston Lions. Thank you so much for your attendance today. The action doesn't stop. Stick around for this evening's Cecil early plate between Williamstown Soccer Club and Altoona East Phoenix, kicking off at 6 p.m. Thank you.
Well, there you have it there. Preston Lions, winners of the New Balance Dockerty Cup for the first time in 34 years. Thanks to Neil Simons down there for the presentation. And thanks as well to Nick Dabano with those great interviews with Tavir, Bryce and Markovsky down there on the winning team today. Mark, really good winnings acceptance speech from Preston Lions captain there, Ryan Scott. Humble in victory and praising the fans who are that 12th man that they really, I think they made a difference for them today.
Yeah, probably one of the best post-game speeches you'll see. Credit to Ryan Scott. But great scenes here. You can see how much it means to the playing group, the coaches, and the supporters as well. Just really proud moment for this proud club.
Well, it feels like a fitting moment for this storied competition. History running back to 1909 that we have this special showpiece occasion here at Lakeside Stadium, and the celebrations have been jubilant, but they're just getting started for this Preston team. Yes, they've got a front up in the Australia Cup in midweek and take on Brunswick Juventus, but I'm sure that they will be allowed to let their hair down tonight because this has been such a special occasion. Luca Tavir, winner of the Jimmy Mackay medal for best on ground, named after one of the great Socceroos that played a bit of football here at South Melbourne as well. Worthy winner, Mark.
Yeah, I thought he was probably the standout player. Got the match-sealing goal right at the end. Really dictated that flow of the second half in particular. Just calm on the ball throughout the whole game.
Look at these scenes here as the Preston players are posing with the trophy in front of their fans. Fantastic celebrations down there for this Preston side, and congratulations to them. And well, where do they go from here? Well, there's plenty more football to come in the season for them, as we were saying. They've still got 4 games in the league because of that postponed game, and then finals, and then who knows how far. We could see them go all the way like Heidelberg in the Australia Cup last year, and maybe go all the way on a run in that competition too. They seem to have the quality, and as you mentioned, particularly in that second half, the game management to beat some hardened professional sides.
Yeah, well, now winning today will give them the belief as well that they can go that far. You know, it's could be a turning point in their season. Not that they needed one, but now they've got that belief to go as far as possible.
Well, it's time for us to wrap up here. Coming up at 6 o'clock as well, don't forget we've got the Cecil Early Plate, that competition for the best performing State League sides in the New Balance Dockerty Cup. That is Williamstown Soccer Club of State League 4 against Altona East Phoenix of State League 1. So that's coming up in just over an hour here, so some fans will be sticking around to enjoy that one. We've seen both sets of players for that one here, taking a look at this great final. No doubt they'll be inspired to put in a good shift. Big thanks to you, Mark Ivkovic. It's been great working alongside you. Nick Dubana down the sidelines and with those post-match interviews as well, capturing the moment for all of those who couldn't be here today. But what a treat it was to be here today, Mark. Fantastic stuff. Big thanks to the broadcast team and Football Victoria. A tremendous event, the New Balance Dockerty Cup. And at the end of the day, it's Preston 3-1 winners. They claim their second New Balance Dockerty Cup. Duarte had opened the scoring for Heidelberg, but it was Cianci, Zini, and then, of course, Luca Tavir sealing the deal. 3-1 winners at full time at Lakeside Stadium. Heidelberg 1, Preston Lions 3. Preston are your New Balance Dockerty Cup winners for 2026. Thanks for your company. Until next time, it's goodbye.